That's A. Then, let me see. Okay. 1 second. Mm, mm. It's getting hot outside too. It's been crazy hot. This heat wave, man. It's a weird kind of hot out there too, because my dashboard yesterday was only saying like 78 degrees, but it just felt like it was 90. It was crazy out there. But today, before we start, we're gonna go through some things that we done been through before. Some of you may be familiar with these things, some of you may not. But it's gonna pertain to where we're going. So in Genesis chapter 15 is the covenant that the Father made with Abraham. And in the covenant, he was telling Abraham how your seed's gonna be this and that. And he was just telling them the conditions they were gonna go through. And Genesis chapter 15, verse 13, it says, and he said to Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation, verse 14, Genesis 15:14, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. Right? Now, in some circles, they'll say this happened when they came out of Egypt with Moses. As you see right here in Exodus chapter 12, verse 40, it says, now the sojourning of the children of Israel, or Yasharal, as some of you all may hear me say, who dwelt in Egypt, or Mitzrayim, which means the house of bondage in Hebrew. As you see, oh my God, Mitzrayim right here is how you, that's how ancient Hebrew they would say what we call Egypt today would be Mitzrayim. And it says lower or upper Egypt, but when you go into the root of the word, come on, there we go. When you go into the root of the word, you see it means, let's see here. And it's important to understand. I ain't saying you got to talk Hebrew, but it's important to have an understanding of the language the Bible was written in, because in the translation, you know, some things I believe they purposely did. Some things it's just a translation difference between the languages, and it was hard to correlate the two. But as you see, the word Mitzrayim means besiege, distress, bind, adversary, fortify, enclose, crush, close, thrust, bind, aka bondage, wound, what is bound up with dressing. So when you see the term Egypt or Mitzrayim in biblical talk, it's not always just talking about a place. Sometimes it's just talking about being in bondage. So when he told not Moses, he told Abraham, your children gonna serve in the land that them or their fathers didn't know for 400 years. It couldn't have been Egypt in the time of Moses, because I think Isaac did too, but we know for a fact Abraham had went to Egypt, and he would be the father of the Israelites because he's the father of Isaac, who's the father of Jacob, who's the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, or Yasharal. So that doesn't fulfill that it'll be a land that you and none of your fathers knew, because Abraham knew it. And I think Isaac went to Egypt too. But we know Jacob went to Egypt also, and he wasn't in bondage. But this scripture right here, and this is one of the translation errors. Exodus 12, now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt, or Mitzrayim, was 430 years. And this is the King James Version of the Bible. The The King James Version of the Bible was written or translated in 1611. And they say that it was translated from what they call the Masoretic text. Some of you might hear that sometimes, the Masoretic text. What the Masoretic text is part Hebrew, but is also part Aramaic. So the King James, the English version of the Bible we read, is not even necessarily all from the Hebrew. Although we trace it back to Hebrew because we understand that it was written to the Hebrew people, the children of Abraham through Isaac, through Jacob, right? But in what they call the Septuagint, for those of you who are familiar with the term, the Septuagint was the first Greek translation of the Bible, and they translated it around 200-300 BC. It was the Greeks were in control of Egypt, and it was Ptolemy was his name, which was a Greek general. It might have been his son, but all of them was like Ptolemy 1, Ptolemy 2. You know how the Greeks do it. Caesar, Caesar 2. You know how they do it. So it might have been his son or something like that. But he asked the children of Israel at that time, because he believed, or at least it had made impression on him, their word and their ways, to translate the Hebraic scriptures into Greek for him. Now, this was all Old Testament at the time, too. There was no New Testament at the time, which Old Testament, New Testament are just New Age terms. The entire Bible is the instructions. There is no Old or New Testament. But the Messiah hadn't walked the planet, the disciples, all that hadn't happened yet in 200-300 BC. So what they translated is what we would call the Old Testament. And that's completely, in the Septuagint, it's a closer translation back to Hebrew than the Masoretic text that the King James was translated from, if that makes any sense. And in the Septuagint, that same verse, Exodus 12:40 says, and the sojourning of the children of Yasharal while they sojourned in the land of Egypt and Canaan was 430 years. So that's one that makes you wonder, did they mess that up in translation? Or did somebody purposely put that to make it look like it fulfilled the covenant of Abraham from Genesis, that they're going to serve in this land for 400 years? Because in the original, or closer, this Britain that you see right here, I switched to, this is the Septuagint. I don't read from the Septuagint because, you know, when we do this, most of us have been raised and we're around people who are more familiar with the King James. So I stay in the King James because if we're ever talking about the scripture with somebody, more than likely that's going to be where we're talking from, right? So that's why we read from there. But in the Septuagint, it says, and the land of Canaan, which lets you know that it's talking about from the time Abraham left Babylon, or Mesopotamia, as science would try to frame it. When the Most High told him to leave, and he took his father and them left with him, really, that started to sojourning in the land of Canaan. When they got there, and Yah was telling them, I'm gonna get this land of your children one day. He constantly kept telling Abraham that, I'm gonna get this land of your children. This land you stand on, I'm gonna give you your children. That was 430 years. And we know that because, where's this scripture at? It'll come to me. But we know that because there is a scripture that says, where is it at? From the time of Abraham, there is a scripture that says, from the time of Abraham to Moses was 430 years. I believe it's an Acts, man. I had the scripture written down somewhere, man. I don't know. Let me see real quick. What is the scripture? No. I can't even find it, but it's a scripture that says that from the time of Abraham to Moses was 430 years, which correlates closer with this Brent. So I bring that up to say, A, that was changed deliberately or maybe by mistake, maybe just for lack of understanding of the translation. But B, this has not been fulfilled. His children had not served, at least not in the time of Egypt then, his children had not served in Babylon 400 years, as he told them in Genesis with the covenant. Remember, we assume that the word of the Most High is true. I know I was talking to somebody recently and I was talking to him about what we doing here. And I was like, we read the Bible. I believe the Bible to be 100% true. I don't believe religion. That's my disconnect. Because if you study religion, religion does not always follow the Bible. So back in Genesis 15, it says, they shall serve them and they'll afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Moving along. And this all makes sense when we get to where we're going. So I need to hurry up because we got some reading to do. Deuteronomy 28:64 says, and in Deuteronomy 28, as you all see, there's 68 verses in the thing. And you see it says, blessing for obedience. So when it starts out, the first 14 verses are, and remember, Deuteronomy is in the time of the wilderness with Moses. The Most High gave him the 10 Commandments. He done made a covenant with Israel, his people, which he said is a perpetual covenant forever throughout all generations. And he telling them, the first 14 verses is if y'all keep these words and y'all stay obedient to me, y'all only follow me, y'all don't worship other gods, y'all don't do what the people around you doing. You keep the Shabbat, which we doing today. That's why we thank y'all for showing us that it's important that we do that. And so on and so forth. But the first 14 verses are all of the blessings, he said, which will be upon each individual, but upon the nation as a whole. For example, verse 13, and the Most High, Yah, and we call him Yah because in Hebrew, his name, it says, and they always told us Jehovah, but there is no J in the Hebrew language, so his name could never have been Jehovah. So you see, when you bring up the Hebraic word that backs the word where it puts Lord at, it says Yahovah. And in the Hebrew, that Yahovah, it's a letter called a va. Sometimes it can be pronounced a wa as well, and that's why you'll hear me say Yahuwah or just Yah as his. This is what his Hebraic name. This is what they would have called him. And it says, and Yahuwah shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. So he told his people, if y'all stay in accordance with me in the ways and things that I'm telling you, which you all have made a covenant with me and you agreed, then you'll always be the head and never the tail. You'll be above everything and everybody, never beneath. And if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Most High Yah, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day to the right or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. So he like, and that's big to Yah. I think that's why that's like the first commandment. Don't get to worshiping these other gods that these other nations are worshiping, right? Not jumping too far ahead, but Amos chapter 3. I read this a lot. In Amos chapter 3, Amos is the prophet. Chapter 3, verse 1, it says, hear this word that Yahuwah, or the Most High, have spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought out from the land of Egypt. Because when he brought out Egypt, he brought out the Israelites, the descendants of Abraham through Isaac, through Jacob. And Jacob had 12 sons who became the 12 tribes of Israel. And that's who Yah went and freed from Egypt. Now, there was other people with him, because it says in Exodus that it was strangers that left there with him, some Egyptians. You know, Egypt was like America today. It was the superpower nation. It was the #1 nation in the world. So all of these other nations would go there to trade. People would move there. So it was other nations that left with them. But it was the whole family is the tribe of Israel who he made the covenant with. And in Amos chapter 3, verse 2, he says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquity. So Yah's telling them, you're the only family I ever chose. You are the only family I ever chose. Therefore, I will punish you for your iniquities. And they show you that already at this time, which Amos is one of the earlier prophets. When you read the prophets, he one of the earlier ones, maybe like right after King David, I believe he might have lived, something like that. Maybe even in that time, toward the end of David's lifetime of Solomon, you know, he was one of the earlier prophets in the kingdom of Israel. But Yah said it's only one family I've ever chose. So I read that because the first 14 verses, he's talking to that family. You'll always be the head, never the tail. You'll always be above, never beneath, if you stay in the right word with me. And we know from Amos and other things that they broke the covenant of Yah. Our people start worshiping the other gods, sacrificing the other gods, picking up the ways of the people around them, basically, is what they did. They stopped, I don't know if they stopped keeping the Shabbat, but they just start breaking the laws of Yah in whatever form that was at that time. So then in Deuteronomy, that same 28, after you get from chapter 14, verse 14, verse 15 through the end is all the curses that he said, I'm going to put up on this people if they don't do what I tell them. And the reason they have to be cursed is because Yah is saying, I do everything for them. I fight their battles. Nobody can see them. And we have the examples of that from King David, or the time of Solomon we read last week when he was building the temple, how it was complete peace. Solomon was maybe the richest king ever, even though he wasn't the number one king. David was the number one king. That's why Solomon was rich. That's why Solomon had peace, because Yah had promised all that to King David, not necessarily directly to Solomon. But the first 14 verses are all the blessings. 15 through 68 is the curses. And it makes sense now why that was so much longer, because the Most High, knowing the end from the beginning, knew y'all gonna fall off. So I'm gonna give you a thorough breakdown of what your condition gonna be if you break these laws of mine, right? And in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64, he says, and Yahuwah, or the Most High Yah, shall scatter thee among all people. There's word here for scatter, just so we understand what he's saying when he says scatter. The word is putz in Hebrew, putz. It means to dash in pieces, to disperse, break, dash, shake. Let me spread this out. So there we go. Drive, meaning you ain't gonna migrate peacefully. I'm gonna kick you up out of here. I'm gonna disperse you. I'm gonna drive you, right? I'm gonna shake you. I'm gonna break you. But you're gonna be scattered among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. You're gonna be everywhere, right? We know amongst this Hebrew Israelite awakening in this community, you always see this chart, and it's like, well, and it's all about the Caribbean and South America. These people in Haiti is this, and the Dominicans is that, and the Puerto Ricans. But Yah said, I'm gonna send you everywhere. North, South America, and the islands ain't everywhere. And when you do research on it, it's people who claim to be the Israelites in India. It's people who claim to be the Israelites in China. It's people who claim to be the Israelites all through the Middle East. It's African descended people. It's tribes in Africa. Not all Africans are the same. Africa is about tribe. And you have tribes in Africa that say that they are the descendants of the Israelites, like the Bantu. When they talk about the transatlantic slave trade, they say that a lot of the slaves were either Bantu or Igbo. If you research the Bantu and Igbo tribes that are still in Africa, they have pockets of those tribes that say that they are the descendants of the Israelites of the Bible. Everywhere. The transatlantic slave trade went to Europe. The Aborigines in Australia say that. The Taliban and Afghanistan say that they from the tribe of Reuben. We read that article about them a couple weeks back in here. They everywhere. They not just in the South America, North America, and the islands. And I don't even know if the people they was picking in them was even right. But he said, from one end of the earth to the other, I'm going to send you everywhere. And there thou shalt serve other gods. Meaning, once you get there, I'm going to allow you to do what I told you not to do. They got you kicked out. You're going to serve them people gods. And the reason why Yah going to allow you to do that, although he don't want us to do it, because in serving their gods, you're going to be trying to act like them and be like them, but they going to forever shut the door in your face to let you know that, you, as they tell us, you American, quote unquote, but you ain't like us. And we see that every day. We the only people that the police kill the way they do. Not saying that they don't shoot other people, because they do. The police be reckless in general, but they don't do them like us. We the most incarcerated people here. somehow we the highest consumer here, yet we the poorest people here, but we built this for free. We the only people did that, and so on and so forth, just to give you some ideas of what that looked like. He says, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Y'all gonna serve gods even y'all fathers them ain't known. And we do that. They gave us religion. We know in slavery is how we got what they call Christianity. The slave owners gave that to the slaves and gave them a white messiah as a form of white supremacy. If we can get these slaves to think that it's somebody look like us coming as the messiah, then they'll always feel like they have to worship us and need us. And it worked. A lot of Black people here in America, only speaking from where I'm at, because that's all I can speak on. A lot of our people, especially our elders, do not believe that our people can govern themselves. It worked. They believed through, and it was rough now, slavery, the whip, Jim Crow. They believe we need these nations above us to govern us. And it worked. That was the point of giving us a European Messiah. And you can study the history of that. You can look into the history of, there's books written about it, all type of things about how the slaves got what we call religion. Like, it's known. They would go, typically it would be a house nigga who was probably more articulate. They had taught how to read. They would teach him the Bible from the European point of view of them being the people and the church being the people. And he would go teach the field Negroes that word. And that's a history of that. It's plenty of books written about that if any of you want to look that up. But verse 65, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease. He like, where y'all going, you ain't gonna find no ease. You're gonna worship these guys. You're gonna think you like them people, but you're not gonna be. Neither shall the sole of thy feet rest. You ain't never gonna find rest. But the Most High, Yah, shall give thee there a trembling heart. You always gonna be scared, worried, never gonna have shalom. And we was talking about shalom about a week ago. You're never gonna be able to truly find peace. And you see that today. Like, yes, we've gotten rights here. We've got money. We go to school. Celebrities get money. Our people still can't find no rest. This is why. He says, in the failing of eyes and sorrow of mind, it's just always going to be something, right? With our people, it's just always something. It does not matter, even amongst our celebrities. Like, look at these rappers. It's a rapper get killed every day. Even in Hollywood, the Black actors, they be complaining about not getting the same opportunities as the other people every day. It's not equal. Now, some of them may make it. Yeah, you may have a Denzel, but there is only one Denzel. You might have a Will Smith, but there is only one Will Smith. Not saying that they better than the rest of our people who do it, but they'll let a few get through a crack. But they hold our people back on jobs. Some of you have worked jobs where you'd have been the best person in the office and they constantly look over you for the promotion. Why is that? You may be, we have to be, other nations can be underqualified and get the spot. We have to be overqualified to get the spot. That's what he's trying to say here. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. Yeah, between gang violence, us killing each other, what's going on with the police, a lack of health care and understanding of that, having the poorest health, the poorest diet, diabetes, tuberculosis, sickle cell, hypertension, high blood pressure. Now those things affects other people, don't get it twisted. But those are all really, even they'll tell you, those are really all Black things. Why? Because the Most High said this is how it was going to be. And thou shalt fear day and night. Our people do, especially our elders. And shalt have none assurance of thy life. Exactly. In the morning thou shalt say, I wish Yah it were evening. Meaning you always going to be wishing for another day. One of the most famous songs amongst our people. Sam Cooke, Change Gonna Come. I actually like that song. That's what this scripture is about. You always gonna be hoping for a better day. Change eventually gonna come. That's what he's saying right here. For the fear of thine heart, wherewith thou shalt fear, in the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. Now, mind you, we just read Amos. He said, y'all the only family I ever chose. This was written to a family of people who grew to be a nation. When they came out of Egypt, he made them a nation. And he telling Moses, let them know, if they break this commandment, which he ain't telling Moses the latter part, which is, I know they gonna break these commandments. But go get him them 14 verses of the blessing. You make sure you give them the rest of these 50-something verses to know. True indeed, Shelly. But you make sure you get them these other 54 verses so they know this was gonna happen if you don't keep this covenant. And verse 28, 68. And the Most High Yah shall bring thee into Egypt again. Mind you, they walking out of Egypt. So I'm gonna bring you into Egypt again with ships. They walking out of Egypt. So why would he be telling them I'm gonna send you back to the landmass Egypt on a ship? It doesn't make sense. And the Most High always makes sense. But see, we don't know that makes sense until we dig into the word Egypt for Egypt, which is Mitzrayim, and we see that that word actually means bondage. I'm gonna send you back bound up, besiege, oppressing into a city. I'm gonna send you back into bondage as a conquered people, and I'm gonna send you on ships. He say, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And the word here for buy really means redeemed. As you're gonna see here, no man will recover or redeem you. It's not necessarily buy, because we understood they bought slaves. So he told him, you're gonna go back into bondage on slave ships the next time when you break this. I'm gonna send you far away. And like he said at the beginning, I'm gonna scatter you to every end of the earth. And he did that. Who he do it to? See, that's the point of this. HalleluYah for y'all, those of you who've been here for a while though, because we didn't kind of graduated out of that a little bit, but that is what this has begun as, and that's always been the gist of this. Who is these people he was talking about? Because when we look at the people in Israel, the European people in Israel who claim to be us, they ain't been through none of that. And they don't claim none of that. They ain't been in nobody's slavery. Even the Holocaust in Germany, them people wasn't nobody's slaves. Them people was rich. They was the politicians. They worked with the government before all of that. They were accepted there. They wasn't on nobody's bottom. They ain't seen nobody's Jim Crow, and they definitely ain't got on no ships and went into bondage. It's only one people who done been through that. I go to Song of Solomon, chapter 1. And this is going to make sense to y'all when we get to where we're going. But in Song of Solomon, chapter 1, Solomon said, I am black, but calmly, O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyard have I not kept. I read that because that does not matter, actually. It matters if we following Yah. But I read that because to show that, and it's plenty of scriptures like that. We ain't gonna go through them all. But to show that these people who claim to be the people of this Bible, that after World War II, remember, it was the US, Germany helped, what was left of it, Russia helped, France helped, Britain helped, Spain and Italy helped. All these European, Japan, I believe, played a part in helping as well. All these nations, mainly European, they paid for the people who were claiming to be the Israelites in Germany to move down into Palestine, is what they were calling it, and establish what is that small piece of land that they claim is Israel today. And understand that little piece of land they got ain't what Israel was biblically, because Yah said Israel would go from the Euphrates to the Nile, meaning from Egypt up past Turkey, from Iraq to the Mediterranean. So Jordan, Turkey, parts of Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Syria, what other nations is right there? All of that is ancient Israel, the one that the Most High said, this is how I plotted it out for Abraham. And when they went back into the land in the book of Joshua and they separated the land, you can see all of that. That's all Israel, really, just about really all of the Middle East for the most part. It doesn't go off into like India and Afghanistan. No, I didn't think it went that far. But definitely parts of what they call Iran, parts of what they call Iraq today. All of that was Israel. But these nations after World War II helped those European people who claim to be the people get that land. That's going to be important as we go through what we go through today. So the point I'm making is the Most High was like, nah, I'm going to send my people here and there. They're going to be in the land for 400 years. We've been in America for 400 years. See, we fit this bill. We fit this bill. But in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, as Solomon built the temple, Solomon was praying and talking to Yah. Starting in verse 11. Solomon had finished the temple and he was praying. And it says, thus Solomon finished the house of Yah and the king's house, his own house. And all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of Yah and in his own house, he prosperously effected. And the Most High appeared to Solomon by night and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and have chosen this place to myself for an house of sacrifice. And it's only one. The Most High has only ever chose one building, quote unquote, one place as the official house of his. He's never chosen anywhere else, right? And that was Solomon's temple in ancient Jerusalem. And they say when he came to Solomon, after Solomon prayed, he came to him that night and he told him, if I shut up heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, which he doing that now, it's droughts all over the world, and the locusts be eating up crops all over the world. You could Google that in the news. Or if I send a pestilence among the people. What's a pestilence? A pestilence is in the sense of destroying. A pestilence, murrain, pestilence, plague. What's that? Oh, we didn't have one of them. And it's other ones going back 100 years ago, diabetes and the flu. The flu was just as bad as COVID when it first started 100 years ago, maybe worse. But now we got COVID. See, we got examples of all of that right now today. All that's happening. He told Solomon, if I start to do this stuff, verse 14, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves, if my people, see what I'm saying? Remember on Amos, that family that I chose, if they, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray. See the first thing y'all said though. They got to humble themselves. I ain't gonna lie, man. We a cocky people. I don't know how our people got so cocky, as hectic as it is amongst our people here in America, I speak for, but we a cocky people. I can't even lie to you, like, Black people, as they say, African Americans, Israel, if you choose. We the most prideful people in America, man. And it's always kind of, it's comical to me that we so prideful, yet we the poorest people here. We the most dysfunctional people here. We the people who don't stick together here. Real talk, the Mexicans stick together, the Arabs stick together, the Asians stick together to an extent. You know, you got different things amongst all people. Nothing is 100% sure. Even the white people, they'll go against each other for certain things, but when white supremacy is being tested, oh, they'll get together. You better believe it. When white supremacy be getting tested, though, they be like, Abraham Lincoln. We done read Abraham Lincoln speeches in here before. Abraham Lincoln was like, I'm freeing the slaves, but I ain't doing it so they can be equal to us. Abraham Lincoln was like, I still don't believe they should hold public office. I don't believe Black men should be able to date white women, but I also believe it's time for them to be free. And it was a business decision because the Civil War was destroying the country. But see, they teach us in their schools like Abraham Lincoln just loved Negroes. He did not. Abraham Lincoln thought very low of Black people. He thought very low. Research it. It was a business decision. He ain't care nothing about no niggas, man. Know that. Know that. He did not. He got speeches and we'd have read some. I'll say, any one of you want to read a speech of his? I got a speech of his he did right before, not long before he signed the Emancipation Proclamation or whatever they call it. Dude wasn't feeling no Black people, man. It was a business decision to save their country, to save white supremacy. See what I'm saying? We the only people here though who be at each other's throats in the manner that we do. We the only people here who kill each other like they do. We the only people here who steal from each other like we do. Yet we the most prideful people. And the Most High knew that. That's why first thing he told Solomon, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves. First, I ain't doing nothing, Solomon, till them people humble themselves. I don't care. I don't care. I believe that's why the slaves got freed, though, because the slaves were humble people. Why? Because we was all poor in slavery together. The only pride was the house Negroes coming back there feeling like they was better than the field Negroes. And we used to diss them, man. Go on up there to the big house, man, and go on shuck and jive for massa, man. It's a history of that. We didn't feel them. They couldn't have me in the house, man. I'd have been still a big fool for the slaves. They'd had to kill me. They had to kill me like, dude, be tripping. You got to go out back and work in that field. But the point I'm making is the Most High knew his people. First, they got to humble themselves. He said after they humble themselves, they got to pray. They got to repent. They got to acknowledge that they've been wrong. Even if you don't know you've been wrong, repent and know that you've been wrong because we've been taught wrong. Now, that don't mean we mad at our parents and our elders because they've been taught wrong. They didn't purposely teach us wrong. But knowledge done been increased. We got the internet. We got ways to research better. We got to research and learn. Ain't no more just repeating the wrong. We got children, some of us. I can't just teach Ariel wrong now that I done seen that it's wrong, just because somebody who I love dearly taught it to. I can't do that. So he said, first humble yourself, then you got to pray, repent. Then you got to seek my face. How you do that? We have to start to read the Bible. That's why I tell y'all every week, even though we read this Bible in here together, I'm not the authority on the Bible though. And we don't meet enough. The Bible, a big book. Meeting there, we would have to meet every day. Realistically, to go through this Bible for real as a whole, we would have to meet at least an hour or two every day and just read through the Bible together to fully just grasp it on our own. And since that's not feasible, at least not now, the Most High may one day put us all in the same spot where we can do that every day. But until then, you all got to pick your Bible up and read it. But you got to take off the glasses of what's the doctrine, right? You have to read it not through what you've been told, but you have to open up and read it and seek for the truth of it within it. And first and foremost, you got to understand that the Bible is about your people. It's about our culture. It's about our heritage. He said, if they shall humble themselves and then seek my face, learn my ways, and learning my ways and learn what I said is real, learn my feast days. You can't keep their holiday. That's not real. Christmas ain't about nothing biblical. Easter ain't. Valentine's Day ain't. We know the 4th of July and all that nonsense ain't. Labor Day and Memorial Day and He like, you got to learn my ways. You got to learn my feasts. You got to keep my days. HalleluYah. You got to learn me. You got to turn from your wicked ways. To do that, you got to first learn the right way. It's only one right way. It's the way of Yah and it's the way of the world. And if you're not in the way of Yah, you in the ways of the world. All of us. And we've all been there and we all still coming through it, all of us. But you can make it though. And that's what he's telling Solomon here. If you go through this process, if you humble yourself, if you repent, if you start to seek me in truth, and in seeking me, you start to apply the things of me to your life and come up. He know you ain't gonna come out of the world in the night. But that's why he's patient. That's why he's merciful. You can learn this though. What he's trying to say is you can do this though. Here a little, there a little. Every day, take a step. Every moment, every second. You ain't gonna hit a home run. And that's why he tells us to come to him like babies. What do a baby do? First a baby scoop, then a baby crawl, then a baby learn how to stand up on his own. One day a baby learn how to walk, and then eventually the baby gonna take off running. That's why he tells us to come to him like babies. Your growth in his word has to be the same. As you learn my ways, turn from your wicked ways, he say, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. That's what he said. Y'all like only then. Y'all like only then. Shabbat shalom, Tiff. Good to see you. But y'all's like only then. They got to learn this, right? And he's talking about, let me see here. I want to get the pattern. I got to get to where I'm going. Get myself together. Like I told y'all, I've been up running all morning, man. It's been one of them days. There we go. Let's see. Okay, 6:36. Keep you up. So in the chapter right before that, Chronicles and Second Chronicles chapter 6:36. And mind you, this is all in the time that Solomon's building the temple that Yah told David he could make, but he allowed Solomon to make it. He told him, if they sin against thee, for there is no man which sinneth not. And see, that's part of the humbling. Understand that we all done sin. All our parents, all our grandparents done sin. That's why we don't hold it against them, because we understand they didn't know as well. But that may be your job. It may be your job to teach your parents the truth. Y'all may be calling you to teach your brother, your sister, your grandparents the truth. Humbly. Don't get it twisted. Because you go in humbly knowing I done sinned too. But he's saying, if they sin against me, for no man sinneth not, and thou be angry with them and deliver them over before their enemies, and they carry them away captives into a land far off or near. So Solomon, like, this is what I'm doing it for. When they go into captivity, he's telling Yah, Solomon had all wisdom, so he probably understand it too. These people might break this. And if they go into captivity, Yah, yet if they bethink themselves, if they humble themselves, like he said in chapter 7, in the land whither they are carried captive, and turn and pray unto thee in the land of their captivity, saying, we have sinned, we have done amiss, and have dealt wickedly. Same thing as chapter 7. If they in captivity and they humble themselves and acknowledge we didn't sin and we didn't dwell wickedly, if they return to thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their captivity, which is what we doing today, whither they have carried them captives, and pray toward their land which thou gavest unto their fathers, and toward the city which thou hast chosen, and toward the house which I have built for thy name, then hear thou from the Shemaim, or heaven, even from thy dwelling place, their prayer and their supplications, and maintain their cause, and forgive thy people which have sinned against thee. So I should have read this first before 7, because 7 is Yah's response to him asking him this. But Solomon asked him, if they go into captivity and they taken as slaves far away, as long as they humble themselves, pick up your ways and start to learn you again, seek you in truth, and they pray, Solomon asking them, will you forgive your people? And then Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14 is Yah's response. Yeah, I got them. If they humble themselves, if they pray, seek my face, do all that, then I'm going to come heal their land. I'll get them together. And he let them be known. In the last days, I'm going to stop the rain. The locusts going to eat the food. I'm going to send a plague on the earth. And there's been many plagues from Ebola going back. Plagues ain't just started. But he like, yeah, I'll get them together. I'll get my people together for that reason. From captivity. So that's just like the introduction to this. It's about captivity in a way. So in Jeremiah chapter 45, so you understand. I had to get that introduction out the way. In Jeremiah chapter 45, the word for Jeremiah. Jeremiah's name in Hebrew is Yirmiyahu, or Yirmiyah, or Yirmiyahu. I like the Yahoo for some reason, but and it means Yah will rise. And you see they put Jah here, but we understand in Hebrew there is no J in the Hebrew language. So where did they get this Jah from? See what I mean about translation? And maybe they did it on purpose, maybe they didn't. But Yah has given us the understanding. He didn't gave us tools to be able to search this back now, right? And to be able to get the language right now. And that's why we have to use that. We can't play ignorant. Man, I tell people all the time when they ask me about this, the judgment for a descendant of a slave who couldn't even read English and was here is going to be different from us today. Why? Because they didn't have access to information. They were being fed away. Yah was working with them in a different way. Now they'll be judged off what they knew. Does the scripture say every man will be judged off what he knew? We won't have the excuse of them back then. We won't be able to say, oh, I couldn't read. I didn't know how to do boo. Y'all gonna be like, yes, you did. You said on Facebook all day. You know how to read them statuses you was liking. You know how to read them statuses you was commenting on and arguing all day about a bunch of nothing. If we do that. I used to do that, so y'all know that's why I deleted my Facebook. I got tired of arguing about nothing all day. But I used to be reckless online. Matter of fact, I've had to apologize to people for the way I acted online, because when I was in that lane, I was ignorant and I ain't know no better. I ain't had no right acting in a certain way. But that's just part of how the Most High had to humble me. I had to realize that. There's people on this call who I've had little beefs with online that I ain't had no business talking in a certain way. And I've apologized to them, and I still apologize to them for the way I acted, because I was out of order. But I had to learn that I was out of order. Be that as it may, we won't have that excuse, though, is the point I'm trying to make, as the slaves, because Yah has given us the tools to learn. We don't use the tools to learn. Even when they be telling us, focus on your craft and do this and that for the job. Yeah, that's cool, but we have to understand that we got to give everything to the Most High Yah first. So Jeremiah's name means Yah will rise, and it also means Yah will loosen. And the root of the word we see here, and it means Yah will lift up high, Yah will lift something up, exalt. Where's the A? Right, a high place, dignity, haughty, meaning Yah will rise, Yah will loosen, Yah's offering. And I read the name like that because names, in Hebrew, names speak to what the Most High is using a person for. So Jeremiah or Yirmiyahu, Yah will rise. And Jeremiah 45, when it says the word that Yirmiyahu, the prophet, spake unto Baruch, and that's what we get to. Baruch, the son of Neriah, when he had written these words in a book at the mouth of Yirmiyahu in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Yehuda, saying. So it's saying Jeremiah the prophet wrote, he spake unto Baruch, who writ down the words that Yirmiyahu spoke to him, and he wrote a book. We see Baruch means blessed. And that's what we try to get to. Thus saith the Most High Yah, the God of Israel. And when you see God, it just means Elohim, a supreme authority. The authority, right? The supreme being. And you know, God is just a title. Anything in today's time can be a God. But when you say Elohim, you basically saying the Most High, the supreme authority of Israel. Unto thee, O Baruch, O blessed. Remember, Baruch's name means blessed. Thou didst say, woe is me now, for the Most High have added grief to my sorrow. I fainted in my sighing, and I find no rest. Thus shalt thou say unto him, the Most High said this, behold, that which I have built I will break down, and that which I have planted I will pluck up, even the whole land. Remember, Baruch, he's saying these things to Baruch, like, Baruch, write this down for Yah's people. Woe is me. Yah has added grief to our sorrow. And mind you, Jeremiah and Baruch are living in the time of when the Babylonians burnt down Jerusalem and burnt the first temple that Solomon built. And they went into Babylon, into slavery / captivity for 70 years. So that's why I read everything we just read, because today is about being blessed in captivity, so to speak. Thus shalt thou say, he told them, Yah said, whatever he built, he'll break down. Talking about these people. And what I planted, I'll pluck up. They done broke my covenant. So now I have to show them that I meant what I told Moses about these curses, is what he's saying right here. Hallelujah. Verse 5. And thou seekest thou great things for thyself. You seeking all these great things, but seek them not. For behold, I will bring evil upon all flesh. What he's saying is, y'all in captivity, and you done got some rights, and now it's about getting to the bag and buying the big house and the cars and doing all this other stuff. And ain't nothing wrong with that, but we have to learn to give everything to the Most High Yah first. And that's not what it is. Now it's work on your craft, stay in the gym, shoot 1,000 jumpers, get this money, and then seek. That ain't how I go. But that's the mentality of the world. Remember, it's only two mentalities on the planet. Either you of the Most High's mentality or you of the world. And the world is under the prince of the power of the air, which is AKA the devil. For behold, I will bring evil upon all flesh. He like, nah, I won't be seeking all them great things of the world. You need to be seeking me first, because you may get all of that, but I'm still bringing evil upon everything. And we see that. The richest people in the world are some of the most miserable people who be having the most going on. You can't buy your way out of what's going on. But thy life will I give unto thee for a prey in all places whither thou go. Yeah, you might get it, but you always going to be preyed upon wherever you go. And what happened to us today? It does not matter how much money you get preyed. And we see that, as my wife put in the chat. Will Smith, one of the top actors ever. Man, he slapped Chris Rock at that show. Man, all them people turned on him. The Oscars banned him. We see that with everybody. Y'all know how they talk about it. They say all these celebrities have a Negro moment. Bill Cosby, he got all big. Bill Cosby used to be like, man, black men need to stop saying nigga and pull their pants up. He actually started to talk down on our people. What they do? Sent this goofy self to jail. He humble now when you hear from him. When you hear Bill Cosby speak now, he be super humble. You know why? Because they showed him you still a nigga too. That's what he's trying to say. You're going to be a prey. It don't matter what you got. If you ain't seeking me, you might get some material and some finances, but you in trouble. Seek me first is what he's saying. So this is what Jeremiah told Baruch, though. Baruch meaning blessed. So I say that because I'm trying to get through this, because we got a ways to go still. Y'all know how I get in here with me, man. We're going to take our time. Baruch wrote a book, and this is one of the books they took out the Bible. Listen, I'm sure some of y'all have seen this before. This red book is called the Apocrypha. It's 14 books. This was in the original King James that was made in 1611. I believe it was like 18. One of you all may know better than me, but I believe it was in like 1860. They took these 14 books out of the King James Bible and called them the Apocrypha. Like, yeah, it's Bible light is what they said. It's Bible, but we just giving it that credit. Mind you, it was Gentiles who did it. The Catholic and Christian churches, which were ran by Europeans, are the ones who said, "No, we ain't giving that credit to be the Bible." And that's what today is about. Why? Why did they do that? We did the word Baruch for blessing before. I just lost the word Baruch. Why did I do such a thing? We did the word for blessing before. We had a Hebrew breakdown. But Shelly, would you like to speak to this word one time for me before we go into this?
Okay, Baruch.
Yep.
And you got it up for me?
What does it mean to be blessed?
So blessed in the Hebrew sense, when you define the actual word Baruch, it means to bend the knee, basically, or to bow. So it's a position of of humility is the actual word. So when you're blessed, so it's a picture of, because again, Hebrew is all about actionable words, right? So words have an action. So when you're blessed, when someone gives you a gift, like if your father gives you a gift, you bow and you get on your knees and you receive the gift. When you look at the word, do you want to bring up the picture?
It's up.
Is it?
It is. I can't hear you.
Can't hear me at all?
I hear you now.
Okay. Okay, so it's spelled, I can't see it, but I believe it's spelled Bet Resh Cough,
Yeah,
right?
it's up.
Okay.
How come you can't
I
see it?
can't
It's up.
I can't see the screen. It's just blacked out for me. But that's all right. I'm gonna roll with it. All right. So Bet is the house. Resh is a picture of a man, right? And then you have Cough, that's a picture of an open hand. So with Baruch, you have the authority of the house or the man of the house, and then you have the picture of the hand. So it's a bowing when you have your hands open, is a picture of a man bowing to receive the gift from the house.
True. So
All right.
to be blessed means to bend the knee, to kneel in homage, or to bow, to give
To
honor
give,
to another, to receive a gift.
right, because you always take a position of humility to receive a gift.
HalleluYah. And any questions or comments about the word blessed before we move on?
Shalom, Mark. Yeah, I had heard my son talk about this too. He was bringing something up to me on the other side is also how the person that's blessing you is bowing down to bless his child. Like you have a child, and you give your child something, so you're kneeling down to give your little child something, like a toddler.
True indeed.
So it's
I never thought of that.
that side too. Hallelujah.
No, hallelujah. I never thought about it like that, but that's true. For a father to bless his child, he typically has to bend down too, to reach down to his child. I agree. And that's a good analogy. So we understand that the blessing comes from the Most High, and we are his children. So that makes sense. Him bending down to give us something, to reach down to his children. But on the same token, like you say, the other side is we have to bow down and give him his proper honor to receive the gift. We have to, as it said in 2nd Chronicles 7, while I read it, we have to humble ourselves, which is what he told us first. If they humble themselves first, pray, seek my face, turn from their ways, then I'll heal their land. That's the blessing. So Baruch, the book he wrote, I call it the book of the blessed. So what is the blessing that he's talking about? And that's kind of where we're at today. In Baruch chapter 1, verse 1, he says, and these are the words of the book which Baruch, the blessed, the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseh, the son of Sadasiah, the son of Asadias, the son of Chelasius, wrote in Babylon. Remember, I told you, they were in, Jeremiah and Baruch were in the time when Nebuchadnezzar burned the temple down. So he's writing this in captivity. So what was he talking about in captivity? And you all understand why we did that intro as we go through this. In the 5th year and in the 7th day of the month, he gave us a time. In the 5th year and the 7th day of the month, what time is the Chaldeans? Oh, where did I write that at? Well, the Chaldeans is going to come up next week. In the time of the Chaldeans, which were some of the people that lived amongst Babylon, took Jerusalem, because Babylon was kind of like a melting pot. But it said in the time of the Chaldeans, took Jerusalem and burnt it with fire. See, they burned it down. And Baruch, the blessed, did read the words of this book in the hearing of Yechonias, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Yehuda. So Baruch, a prophet, I'm assuming he would be considered a prophet. He around the king of Judah, or Yehuda, as we say, ain't no J in Hebrew. So when you hear somebody talk about the tribe of Judah, or the Messiah is from the tribe of Judah, Judah in Hebrew is Yehuda. Is how you would pronounce it. And saying in the ears of all the people that came to hear the book. So Baruch read this book to the king, but amongst all of the Israelites that were around. And in the hearing of the nobles and the king's sons, and in the hearing of the elders and all the people from the lowest unto the highest, and even all of them that dwelt at Babylon by the river Sud. So in this part of Babylon, so he lived in Mississippi. Baruch in Mississippi, right by the Mississippi River, and all of the slaves, descendants of slaves, and the captives who were around him in Mississippi is who heard him read this. Is the way that's going. Or he in North Carolina, or he in LA. He here in Joliet, where a lot of us is at. He in Chicago, wherever these slaves is at, in Babylon. Look at Babylon like that. It's a big place, and we spread all through it, just like today. So he's reading, and just so happened the king and a lot of the nobles is in this place where Baruch is at. And he's reading to him, right? He's reading his word to him. Hallelujah. It say, whereupon they wept, fasted, and prayed before the Most High Yah. They trying to humble themselves. Fasting is a part of humbling yourself because it humbles your flesh. It afflicts your flesh. It shows that it's about praising Yah in spirit and not in flesh. So even when you fast, that's a form of humbling yourself. They crying, they fasting, they humbling themselves, they praying. Just like 2 Chronicles said they better do. See, they knew that. But see, they knew who they were though. They knew the mistake that was made. We don't know the mistake that was made today because we have been taught what the Most High is through a European lens from a people that was oppressing us. Is part of what I'm trying to get to here. Verse 6, they made, that's true, Lord, hallelujah. They made also a collection of money according to every man's prayer. And this collection of money is to help the poor and everybody around. It's to help further the work of the Most High. It's not the way these Negroes is asking for this money in these churches today. And even in this awakening. And this Hebrew Israelite awakening, these dudes is getting this money and going to live a high life with this money. That ain't what the money that you give to the Yah is for. Verse 7, you take care of Yah's people with Yah's money. You take care of Yah's business with Yah's money. And they sent it to Jerusalem unto Jehoiakim the high priest, the son of Shelasius. Shelsius, one of the two, son of Salom, and to the priests and to all the people which were found with him at Jerusalem. So, and when you read the story of Babylon, when they burnt the city down and took it, they left the poorest of our people in Jerusalem to till the ground and to keep the crops up and all of that. They took all of the people over that. Basically, they left the homeless people. So they collected money in captivity, sending it back to Jerusalem to help those poor people and all that's been left. See, that's the proper way that go. Not like Creflo and them who've been buying these jets, talking about they gotta. Nah, that ain't how that go. That ain't how that go. At the same time, when he received the vessels of the house of Yah, meaning all of the stuff that was in Yah's temple, because the Babylonians, there was a lot of gold and silver and all that in Yah's house that Solomon built. They took everything worth something before they burned it down. That they were carried out of the temple to return them into the land of Yehuda. The 10th day of the month Sivan, namely silver vessels which Sedecius, the son of Josias, king of Yehuda, had made. So they're trying to get the stuff back from the temple. And we know eventually in this story they get it back. But it's under the king's series. He sent them back with all of them. Verse 9. After that, this is really supposed to be Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away Jeconias and the princes and the captives and the mighty men and the people of the land from Jerusalem and brought them into Babylon. And they said, behold, we have sent you money to buy you burnt offerings and sin offerings and incense and prepare you manna and offer up on the altar. They like, we sending this money for these sacrifices for the people, incense, to do the work of Yah. And pray for the life of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and for the life of Belteshazzar, his son, that their days may be upon the earth as the days of heaven. And the Most High will give us strength and lighten our eyes, and we shall live under the shadow of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and under the shadow of Belteshazzar, his son, and we shall serve them many days and find favor in their sight. Basically, they like, man, pray that these people don't be down here tripping. We gonna handle this business. See, they understood who they were though. And it was prophecies leading up to this. So they like, we understand we broke bad. Y'all prophesied we gonna be here 70 years. Man, just pray that Nebuchadnezzar and them don't be down here no tyrants. You feel me? that we at least find favor in their eyes while we down here handling the business that Yah said we got to come handle. That's really what they saying. Verse 13. Pray for us also. Pray for us also unto the Most High Yah our Elohim, for we have sinned against the Most High. And unto this day, the fury of Yah and his wrath is not turned from us. See, they like, we understand what we did, and we understand this is why we going through this. We don't understand this today. Why is it we the only people in the world got on slave ships? Why is it, although we are the most creative people when it comes to singing, dancing, athletics, everything, really, fashion, everything, yet we make the least off of all of those while everybody else make all the money? Why is it that we the tail and not the head? Scripture said you should never be the tail. Why is it? Because we don't understand this that they understood. See how they talking in captivity, how we should be talking, but we don't. We thinking, man, now is, we're going to get this money. We're going to buy this land. We're going to buy our way out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. You're going to buy your way out. Okay. They understand that disobedience is why we here. And because they understood who they were as well. 14. And you shall read this book which we have sent unto you to make confession in the house of Yah upon the feasts and solemn days. Read this book to the poor people that's still there so they understand this is what it is in captivity here where we at Babylon. And you shall say to the Most High Yah, belong of righteousness, but unto us the confusion of faces. Man, Yah is true. Yah didn't mess up. We messed up. As it has come to pass this day unto them of Yehuda and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to our kings and to our princes and to our priests and to our prophets and to our fathers. But we have sinned before Yah and disobeyed him and have not hearkened unto the voice of the Most High to walk in the commandments that he gave us openly. Remember, we read that. He told Moses that. He said, listen, I gave you 15 verses of blessings, but it's 53 verses of what's going to happen if you don't. And they acknowledging it. We done messed up. They didn't go into Babylon on slave ships either. They walked into it because Babylon was part of what is present day Iraq, which at that time was part of what was supposed to be the whole nation of Israel. So they ain't walked far either. But he said we broke that. Verse 19, since the day that the Most High brought our forefathers out of the land of Egypt unto this present day, we have been disobedient unto the Most High Yah, and we have been negligent and not hearing his voice. We turned from that. We got to doing our own thing. He was blessing us. We had all this money, this power, this wealth. All these nations was loving us, and we fell apart. Sound like today. Wherefore the evils cleaved unto us, and the curse which the Most High appointed by Moses. See, he telling them the curse. Deuteronomy 28, verse 16 through 68. And not all of them, because they didn't go on the slave ships yet. He like, but the curse which he said to Moses, his servant, at the time that he brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt, to give us a land that floweth with milk and honey, like as it is to see this day. We understand this is the curses of Yah, and we brought this up on ourselves. See, they ain't sitting around talking about something, the white man keep me down. Oh, man. Man, they ain't sitting around talking about the white man this and the white man that. No, they like, Nebuchadnezzar them couldn't even do nothing with us, man. We fell off with Yah. That's why this happened. They understand. Nevertheless, we have not hearkened unto the voice of the Most High our Elohim, according unto all the words of the prophets, whom he sent us. But every man followed the imagination of his own wicked heart to serve strange gods. What did Yah tell Moses? Tell them don't be serving them gods of them people around them. Do not let them people give you no European Messiah and call his name Jesus. Is you crazy? Do not let them people tell you no Mohammed and no Islam or no Buddha or no crystals or no astrology or no, you got you sage and demons out your, what? Don't do that. And he like, yeah, we knew we weren't supposed to do that, but we did that. And to do evil in the sight of the Most High Yah. So first and foremost, the people acknowledge it. We understand we in captivity because we broke bad. with the Most High Yah. He like, we get it. He like, we get it. We get it. Baruch, the blessed, the book of the blessed, chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore, the Most High Yah have made good his word. He like, therefore, Yah made good his word. What was his word? Which he pronounced against us and against our judges that judged Israel, or Yasharal. He like, he made good on what he said he would do. And against our kings and against our princes and against the men of Israel and Judah, meaning all 12 tribes. See what I'm saying? It ain't just no one particular tribe. Y'all was like, everybody got to go. Y'all was like, oh, y'all got to go. To bring upon us great plagues. Really? What's the great plagues? Heart disease, hypertension, sickle cell, diabetes. What's the great plagues? The flu now, or COVID, the super flu, I guess. You got monkeypox coming. Ebola done been here. What is the great plagues? It's many. You think about, man, think about our people back in like the 1920s or the 1918, whenever they was talking about the Spanish flu. At that time, we was 3/5 of a man. We didn't even have rights here. We were just free slaves going through Jim Crow. You never, when you hear about all these people that died during the Spanish flu and all that, they don't even have a count of how many black people died here in America. You know why? Because you wasn't even a people here. You wasn't nobody. You wasn't nobody. They don't even have a count. Right now, when they talk about COVID, they don't even have a count of how many people in these penitentiaries that have been killed by COVID. They don't even count it. You know why? Because the people in there ain't nobody. Who in there? All our people. Yah brought the great plagues. He allowed them to be upon you because we were disobedient, such as never happened under the whole earth, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. He said the things going on with us ain't never happened to nobody on the whole earth. What? And this is how powerful the Most High is. Because in history, they looked down upon the slave trade. Oh, them people got on slave ships. That ain't, we would never. That ain't us. That's them, right? And now Yah's opening up the book to us, and he like, my people gonna get on slave ships. Now they want to disregard it. Oh, we ain't even teaching slavery in the schools no more. You came here as servants. Y'all didn't come here as slaves. You wonder why they run around talking about all that critical race theory and want to get that out the schools? Because the devil don't want you to know you even came here on a slave ship no more. Why? Because Yah done showed that only my people gonna get on the slave ships. And nobody can stake claim to that but who? Us. I tell you, man, this is a crazy world, man. This is a crazy world. I watched the news for a few months straight. It was all about slavery. This country ain't racist. We ain't teaching that. Those is bad teachers and making white kids feel bad. They don't even want to teach you that you came here on a slave ship. And as I was watching the news, y'all was like, you know why they doing that? Because they don't want you to know. Because now that it's coming out that I said my people gonna get on slave ships, and the whole world know you the only person did it. Now they don't even want you to know that you did it. And as this grandparent generation die off, who've been teaching us that, when you look at our age, especially my age, 40 and younger, these young people ain't teaching their kids that no more. If they take that out to schools, which they trying to, that'll be forgotten within the next 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years. That'll be forgotten. You know why I got to be forgotten? Because that's how you know that you mine. I tell you, boy. Y'all like, that's how you know that you mine, because can't nobody else make claim to that but you. Ain't nobody else but you. Such as never happened under the whole heaven. You the only people did that. Verse 3, that a man should eat flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter. When the Romans at 70 AD, after the Messiah died, when the Romans burnt down Jerusalem the last time, because we ain't never been back after that. In Masada, it was some Israelites. They was in Masada, which was a fort, fighting them people. It said the Romans cut off all access to food and water, burned pork around it to smoke them out, and the people was in there dying. Our people start eating their own kids to live. All of this has been fulfilled. All you got, and that's history. You ain't even got to look in the Bible for that. That's history. Google Masada in Rome, 70 AD. They tell that story in their history. See, it was nothing to tell that story in history coming up because they was like, them people don't know nothing. But now that you know something, it's like, dang, that was true. Just like you getting on them slave ships was true. Just like you being in the bottom amongst these people who didn't oppress your people is true. And it ain't about no white man, no. No, you there because I put you there. That's what they don't want you to know. They want us to be focused on racism and all that, which exists. Don't get it twisted. But what Yah's trying to say is, that ain't why you there. You there because I put you there. Which these people in Babylon under Baruch, the book of the blessed, part of the blessing is you got to know why you there. They knew why they was there. Why are we here? Moreover, he have delivered them to be in subjection to all the kingdoms that are round about us. See, now they ain't on slave ships, but they was in subjection to all the nations around them. Where we at now? In subjection in India, in subjection amongst black people in Africa. Remember, it was other Hamitic black tribes that rounded us up for the Europeans when the transatlantic started. Because the Africans know better than anybody on the continent of Africa. They know better than anybody who is Israel and who ain't, because they know what tribes is what. Still to this day. It ain't no color. All nations done had you in subjection. And India and Africa, as African descended Iraqis, you never see them on TV, just like you never see an African descended Brazilian. As African descended Iranians, you never see them on TV, just like you never see the African descended people from Argentina. It's like it don't exist. But if you research it, they there, because slaves got off in all them spots. He like everywhere. They going through the same thing everywhere. All kingdoms that are round about us to be as a reproach and desolation among all the people round about where the Most High have scattered them. And what do they say about our people everywhere today? Them people curse, man. They just can't get right. And we buy that. There's certain black people right now, I tell you, man, our people just curse, man. We can't do this. We can't do that. Whole time. No, yeah, it ain't just no random black. We are cursed. Why? Because we these people that broke this covenant that the Most High said. And now that it's sticking out, you are exactly right, Angel. They like, nah, we got to change these books. They always taught us don't go to school. Don't worry about that. And a lot of our people didn't. We ain't go read and write. Man, we learned how to read and write. Now they want to change the books. They like, no, we can't teach them that no more. They waking up. They understand it. He like, nah, we can't. Nah, we got to get that from them. He says, thus we were cast down and not exalted because we have sinned against the Most High and have not been obedient to his voice. That's why. To the Most High Yah appertaineth righteousness, but unto us and to our fathers open shame has appeared this day. We've been shameful, living like the people around us. Done bought into their holidays, done bought into their survival of the fittest mentality. We done bought into all their mentalities. All mentalities that work for them, no, none of that work for us. Yeah, it may help one or two of us, but it's another million of us it don't work for. For all these plagues are come upon us, which the Most High pronounced against us. Yet have we not prayed before Yah? We ain't prayed, not properly, because we don't know. We learn it now. That we might turn everyone from the imaginations of his wicked heart. Wherefore the Most High watched over us for evil. And Yahuwah have brought it upon us. For the Most High Yah is righteous in all his works, which he hath commanded us. What he's saying is, he told Moses what was going to happen. What we do? We disregarded it. So we can't be mad at Yah because he told us. We disregarded it and he just fulfilling his word. But in 2 Chronicles, he said, but even in captivity, if they say, you know what, and get back right, the Most High said, I'm coming for them. And that's what we live in life. Yet we have not hearkened unto his voice to walk in his commandments that he hath set before us. And now, O Yah, supreme authority of Israel, that has brought thy people out of the land of Egypt, out of the land of bondage with a mighty hand and a high arm and with signs and with wonders and with great power, and has gotten thyself a name as appertained to this day. Remember, that's how Yah made his name on the world. Egypt was the world power. Egypt was America. Egypt was Babylon. And think, Everywhere where our people have been in captivity at, known of in history, has always been the number one nation in the world. It started with Egypt. Second was Babylon, which is what he writing from here. After that is Persia. It was the number one nation in the world when it had us. It freed us because he told Cyrus to when he listened. The Greeks came in after that. They had our people in subjection. They were the number one nation in the world at that time under Alexander the Great and his generals. The Romans came in after that. That's Julius Caesar. They never, Patrick always tell me that when they teach us about Julius Caesar in high school and all that, but they never tell us he was in the time of the Bible, around the time of the Messiah walking the earth. The Romans were the number one nation in the world at that time, and they reigned for a long time. Rome fell, broke up, became the European Union. Germany, all them nations, they fought for world domination, even Hitler. Germany was the strongest nation, but it didn't dominate the world at the time of Hitler. World War II start, Germany was whooping Britain and France. America stepped in, which had a nation of us who built it for free. That's why I was so rich, and such a baby nation was rich. They stepped in, ruled out Germany, and America has dominated the world ever since. That's the 6 nations right there. The 7th one is the Antichrist. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, 3, Greece, 4, Rome, 5, America now 6, and Revelation say the 7th nation is going to be the nation of the beast, the Antichrist. That's how we know we close. See, once he opened up the word to you and you understand it, now it's like, but every one of the most powerful nations in the history of this world have only been those nations when his people has been captive there. Who is his people? When I destroyed Egypt, that's when you read the story of Exodus and when they was coming out of Egypt, them nations was like, man, we heard what happened down in Egypt because of y'all. They was scared of them Israelites, like, People starting to see that now. You seeing that on these leaders now. Oh, yeah, we have sinned. We have done ungodly. We have dwelt unrighteously in all thine ordinances. See, they knew, man, we got to get back right with Yah. We learning that now, but that's the blessing. Hallelujah. Let thy wrath turn from us, for we are but a few left among the heathen. We are but a few, really. Yeah, they done killed us all. We all in jail. These diseases, because of these slave diets that killed us all. It's hectic. We still a minority. Even with them saying, man, well, the birth rate of all these other nations is slowing down. Ours is still skyrocketing, and we still the minority. He say, we only but a few where thou hast scattered us. Hear our prayers, Yah, and our petitions, and deliver us from thy own sake, and give us favor in the sight of them which have led us away. He like, give us favor, Yah. It's hectic. Hear our prayers, O Yah, and our petitions, and deliver us for thy own sake, and give us favor in the sight of them which had led us away. This is why Abraham Lincoln freed us. Yah made him. You know why? Because the slaves actually knew, even though they didn't know the name, they didn't have all the doctrine, but they were a humble people because of slavery alone. They had no choice but to be, and Yah heard them and he freed them. And look at what happened when he freed them. We still stuck together through Jim Crow because it was hectic. Man, you get to the 60s and the Civil Rights Act and all that, our people done fell off ever since then. And now what do we have? Of people who done completely fell off. The youth don't respect the elders at all. We don't stick together at nothing. We at each other's throats worse than we have ever been in our 400-year history here, which we've been here 402 years, they say. All the earth may know that thou art the Most High, because Israel and his posterity is called by his name. See, we supposed to be representing Yah, walking in the likeness and the image. That's why don't nobody in the world know the truth, because Yah chose the people to be a light amongst the Gentiles. We are supposed to be the ones that teach the world about Yah. Since we fell off and went into captivity, that's why don't nobody in the world know the truth, because the truth bearers ain't in the truth. We the reason. I told my mama this one day. We the reason for COVID. And not just us in America. I'm talking about Israel scattered all around the world. We the reason why we the reason why it's famine. We the reason why the Ukrainians is over there and all that bombing going on these wars. You know why? Because with us not in our rightful place, the world is out of whack. Everything go on in the world. The Most High don't care nothing about the world. That's a lie they teach you. He don't care nothing about these nations. He said they already done chose what they gonna follow. No, you the reason. Because I chose you to teach this world. And when you didn't teach it, now I don't know. And they live it every which way. We the reason. They'll never tell you that, but that's why they hate you. Because you the reason. Y'all ain't hear what I just said. That's why they hate you. Because they know you the reason why it's hectic. Oh, Yah, look down from thy holy house and consider us. Bow down thy ear, O Yah, to us. Open thine eyes and behold, for the dead that are in the graves, whose souls are taken from their body, will give unto the Most High neither praise nor righteousness. Man, we got a lot who done died, Yah. They can't even praise you no more. We trying. Like, we trying, Yah. Help us. But the soul that is greatly vexed, which goes stopping and feeble, who's weak, stupid and feeble, meaning he weak, and the eyes that fail, and the hungry soul. Who is that? Who feeble? Who weak? Who hurt? Who eyes is failing because it's hectic? Who hungry? Who people starving? Who poor? We'll give thee praise and righteousness, but we still, they like, we in captivity, it's hectic. And it ain't even hectic like it's hectic today. But they still like, we gonna praise Yah no matter what. We know. They knew. We know we can't buy our way up out of here. We know we can't buy enough guns to fight our way up out of here. We need you. Therefore, we do not make our humble supplication before thee, O Yah, our Elohim, for the righteousness of our fathers and our kings. For thou hast sent out thy wrath and indignation upon us, as thou hast spoken by the servants, the prophets, saying. Basically, we acknowledge Yah, it's hectic, and you told the prophets it was going to be hectic, and we see it. Thus saith Yah, bow down your shoulders to serve the king of Babylon, so you shall remain in the land that I gave unto your father. He told them. Some of them was running. When the Babylonians was coming, they was running down into Egypt and all that. He was like, nah, I told you, you got to go serve them people 70 years. I'm going to kill all y'all. And what did he do? When the Babylonians came in, they went and conquered Egypt. We was trying to run. That's why that flea doctrine don't work today. Oh, we just going to move to Africa. We going to move here. We go. That ain't going to work. Man, y'all told them, man, you got to fulfill this curse. They was like, you had Israelites who was running all down into African Egypt. What did y'all do? Man, he gave Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians the power. They went down there and conquered Egypt. You can't. Y'all said, no, you can't run. What's wrong with you? And a lot of Israelites died down there too, playing around. Because y'all told them, don't go. You got to go into Babylon because this is what the prophecies say. And my word is true. We did that last week. Y'all ain't a liar. I told you this what you got to do. This what you got to go do. But if you will not hear the voice of Yah to serve the king of Babylon, because I told you, you got to go do. Jeremiah told them, what was that? 30, 40 years, 20 years we came up with? It was somewhere between 20 to 40 years. Jeremiah was prophesying. Y'all said we got to go serve the Babylonians 70 years. Some of them Israelites were like, I'm out. Okay. Got Egypt destroyed. See why the Egyptians don't feel you? Because they know it was your fault. They lost their nation. And now you got a bunch of Arabs running around Egypt with a bunch of hieroglyphs on the wall talking about this is the history of our people, and the Egyptians on the hieroglyphs is jet black. Man, listen, man, y'all can't even hear what I'm trying to say, man. How you think all them Arabs got there? Hey, that's so funny, man. The Arabs be like, yeah, we the Egyptians. They got their museums with the hieroglyphs. This our people. And they don't look nothing like the people on the hieroglyphs. How you think that happened? Because of you. Because you didn't listen when he said you got to go into Babylon. You ran down to Egypt and y'all destroyed the nation because of you. I'm telling you, this is why nobody feel you. This is why ain't nobody never gonna feel you. Because all of this is because of you. I will cause to cease out of the cities of Yehuda and from without, outside of Jerusalem, the voice of mirth, the voice of joy, the voice of the bridegroom. You ain't gonna be happy. You ain't gonna get joy. You ain't gonna hear the voice of a Mashiach. Remember, he the bridegroom. Yahushua is what we call him in Hebrew. Means Yahuwah salvation. He like, you ain't gonna be able to hear the voice of the Messiah no more. And the voice of the bride. You ain't even gonna know that you the bride. You ain't gonna know that you Israel. And the whole land shall be desolate of inhabitants. What is it? Still today. Is it people of Israel? Yes. Is the official people of Israel at least reigning? Because some of them there, some of us, they got money. We'd have been able to travel back. But who's the people? They ain't y'all like, yes, people there. They ain't my people. They ain't my people. Oh, hey, them ain't my people. You're like, them ain't my people. But we would not hearken to the voice of Yah to serve the king of Babylon. Therefore hast thou made good the words that thou speak by the servants, the prophets, namely the bones of our kings and the bones of our fathers should be taken out of their place. But see, understand something. Y'all just said you got to go into Babylon / America / Egypt / Europe / India, these spots and serve. I ain't say they could rape your mama and sell your daddy into slavery and commit sodomy on the men and all the buck breaking it. They can give you pork and slop to eat and starve you out. I ain't say that. All I said is you got to go serve. I ain't say that they could be selling and breaking up families and see, that's why when you get to Mystery Babylon and Revelation, y'all like, nah, they have to run us over though. I'm coming to punish them. Why? Because I just said you could serve them. They took it too far. I ain't say they could do all of that. And lo, they are cast out to the heat of the day and to the frost of the night, and they died in great miseries by famine, by sword, and by pestilence. Yeah. That's what's going on now. And the house which is called by thy name hast thou laid waste. Yeah, they done burned my house down. And the house is my people. They done laid my people down. Y'all out here bad. Look at y'all. Look at us. As it is to be seen this day for the wickedness of the house of Israel and the house of Yehudah. All y'all. That's why he's saying in the last day, man, don't be, bet not one of you 12 tribes be cocky against the next. Y'all like every one of y'all done broke bad, man. Ain't none of y'all did right. Like, so ain't no point in being cocky against each other. Oh, Yah, thou hast dealt with us after all thy goodness and according to all that great mercy of thine. But Yah is merciful. We understand Yah is hectic, but we know you merciful. That's why we know you will come get us. As thou spake by the servant Moshe in the day when thou did command him to write the law before the children of Israel, saying, if you will not hear my voice, surely this great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations. It sure did. Where I will scatter them. It sure did. For I knew that they would not hear me. See why I said that? Y'all like, man, when I gave Moshe them commandments, I knew what y'all was going to do. That's why I gave y'all 54 verses of curses to know. So you can't say I lied. Y'all like, you can't say I lied. I told you exactly what it was going to be. HalleluYah. Y'all was like, listen, I told you exactly what it was going to be. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people, prideful, hard-headed. Who is that? You, us, them in Babylon here. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. What is we doing today? Why are we here today? We should be at church on Sunday. What is we doing meeting in the middle of a Saturday talking about we reading the Bible? Where they do that at? What niggas do that? You know why we here doing that? Because we starting to remember ourselves. HalleluYah. And shall know that I am the Most High Yah, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear. Really? Why is we here? Why is all y'all here? Because y'all like, I'm going to give you a way to hear. It's time for y'all to hear me again, man. It is time for y'all to hear me again. HalleluYah. And that's what we doing. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. Ain't gonna be no more Jesus amongst them. Ain't no more white Messiah. That ain't real. It didn't matter if it was a brown Messiah and they was calling him whatever from China. They was calling him Wang Fu. That ain't real. He like, nah, they ain't gonna follow no more of that nonsense because I'm gonna teach them the truth. He doing that now. That's why we here. In the land of their captivity, they gonna think up on my name. What name? God. That ain't my name. That's a title. What's my name? Y'all like, what's my name? He told us his name. It's Psalm 68. See, this is why we say this. Psalm 68, verse 4. He was like, man, that's my name. Psalm 68, verse 4 say, sing unto the Most High, sing praises to his name. What's his name? Extol him that ride up on the heavens by his name. What? Jah. Jah in his name, ain't no J in Hebrew. The Hebraic language don't have a J. Matter of fact, the J wasn't created till like the 1500s. Even in the Greek, when the Bible first was translated from Hebrew, they translated to the Greek, it was Issus. It was an I. It wasn't even a J in Greek. Where'd that come from? He like, my name. Praise him that ride on the winds by my name, Jah, and rejoice before him. But see, that's what I mean. Yah done gave us the way to see it back. They got the text. They know where these things was translated from in Hebrew. What's his name? They told you. Yah. Man, they knew his name, man. Who they hide the name from? Us. See? They know. These other nations of people know his original name. Who did they hide it from? Us. He said they gonna think up on my name and they gonna return from their stiff neck. They gonna start to humble themselves so I can heal their land. And they gonna turn from their wicked deeds. For they shall remember the way of their fathers. They gonna remember who their ancestors is and their culture. They gonna come up out of all that American, Babylon, European thinking they've been taught. They gonna start to remember who they was before they left Africa. You wasn't just some African. That don't even mean nothing. What's an African? Oh, man. Y'all like, that don't even mean nothing. You call yourself an African American. What is that? That ain't a nation. Them two continents. What are you? What are you? Who are you? We just black. I was watching TV the other day and I don't remember what I was even watching. It was something on the news or something. And they was like, yeah, you know, you got the Polish Americans, you got the Italians, you got the Chinese Americans, and then you got black people too. And I thought to myself, like, think about that. They calling everybody else by nation. The Italians, the Polish, the Chinese. When they get to us, they call us a color. You just black. I ain't even black, I'm brown. I remember I used to tell that to people. I never understood that growing up. I used to tell that to people as a child, like, I ain't even black, I'm brown. Like, what do that don't even make no sense. Man, y'all like, nah. But they gonna remember they gonna remember who they was before. It's a book by a European from the 1600s named Mungo Park. He was an explorer. At the 1600s, he went the furthest into the Niger River, which is in by Nigeria and all of that. And he said in that book that when he seen the eventual descendants of the slaves in Africa, that they had Hebraic texts of the Book of Psalms, the Book of Kings. They had a few books of the Bible in Hebrew. And he asked them, how did y'all get that? Now, mind you, if you study the history of the Hebrew that's taught today in the world and in Israel amongst them Europeans, it was created in the 1800s by a so-called Jew in Germany, a European named Eliezer ben Yehuda. He created what they call Yiddish/Hebrew in 1850 in Germany. How did Mungo Park and them Africans have Hebraic texts in the 1600s? Because them your people. If you look at some of the slave registries, which they got, of the names of the people who got off the slave ships, it's a lot of Josephs and Moshes. How did they have Hebrew names? If Hebrew didn't, if the world didn't refine Hebrew until the 1800s. See, man, the proof is in the pudding. And y'all like, they gonna remember though. They gonna remember who their ancestors was when they was beating Kunta Kinte and took his name and told him you couldn't speak your language and don't worry about Africa and your people. They took your culture from you. They took, what y'all's telling them is they tried to take me from you, but I'm inside of you and I'm giving it back. And even with them talking about they ain't gonna teach slavery in schools no more and all that, they can't stop what I'm doing. Now, hallelujah. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath and unto their fathers. Look, I'm going to show them. You the descendant of Abraham. You the descendant of Isaac and Jacob. And they shall be lords of it. And I will increase them and they shall not be diminished. Y'all like, I'm going to bring my people back. I did it. I done did it multiple times. I brought them out of Egypt and took them into the land. I brought them back out this Babylon and took them into the land. They got one more shot. After they serve in the land for 400 years, I'm going to bring them back again. Really. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their Elohim. And they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. He like, nah, this last time, that's why everybody who don't get right gonna die here. Because this next time I put them back, I ain't honoring no more dysfunction. I'm only bringing back those who serious. This is the book of the blessed. What's the blessing? He telling us what the captivity gonna be like. How do we bow down and receive the gift? You got to humble yourself in captivity. That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of the blessing. O El Shaddai. Lord Almighty in Hebrew is El Shaddai, which means God, I can't even think of it, but it's El Shaddai. It just means it's God Almighty. It's El Shaddai in Hebrew. So El Shaddai, Elohim of Israel, the soul in anguish, the troubled spirit crieth unto thee. Baruch chapter 3, verse 1. We just rolling down. Hear, O Yah, and have mercy, for thou art merciful, and have pity upon us, because we have sinned before thee. We like, Yah, we understand. We know you merciful. Have pity. We done sinned. We acknowledge it. See, they humbling themselves. This is the blessing. He teaching us how we gonna get up out of captivity. That's the blessing. For thou endurest forever, and we perish utterly. O El Shaddai, Elohim of Yasharal, hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites and of their children, which have sinned before thee and not hearkened unto the voice of their Elohim, for the which cause these plagues cleave unto us, because we still ain't, as a whole, our people still ain't woke up to who he is. So for that reason, you still hear over a summer weekend in Chicago, 70 shootings, 20 people killed, 45 people shot. That's why. You know why? Because they don't know who they is. See, we think, coming from the streets, we just think, oh, dude owe me some money, or dude said this or did that, or dude stole something from me. We think we just killing an op. That's what we call them now, right? We just killing the ops off. That's how we play it now. We just killing the ops off. Y'all like, you ain't killing no damn ops, you killing my people. But you don't know that. See, we don't know we the people. So we don't know we killing Yah's people. Remember not the iniquities of our forefathers, but think upon thy power in the name now at this time. He like, Yah, we done messed up. And that's what we pray now, Yah. Don't remember the iniquities of our forepower, but just think about what we doing now. What you allowing us to do in your power, Yah. And you giving us the name now at this time. For thou art the most high Yah. And thee, O Master, we will praise. We ain't praising no more European messiahs. We ain't worshiping no more strange gods. We keeping the Shabbat. We ain't celebrating no more of them holidays. We done researched them. They ain't giving you no glory. We celebrating you. Why? Because that's the culture of our people that they stole. See, we understand now. You done allowed us to understand. Verse 7, and for this cause, thou hast put thy fear in our hearts. See, we properly fear you now. We don't just throw your name out there randomly and be acting goofy like we following you, living in your kind of way. No, we get it now. We got to get right with you, to the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity. See, that's the blessing. He teaching us how to get out of captivity. How? We gonna praise on the name of Yah. We ain't gonna buy our way. We know that. We ain't got enough money anyway. And we definitely don't got enough guns. Oh my goodness. You be hearing some of these niggas like, we just gonna buy these guns and take over these cities. Please. He gave you that at Black Wall Street. They was getting money and the government sent in planes and bombed the city. Can you imagine if a bunch of niggas in Chicago, the whole South Side, got together with all them guns and said, we just finna take the city? What is send the Marines through there and chop the Negroes down so quick? Oh man, you ain't finna do it like that. You ain't finna do it like that. That's a send-off mission. Now we gonna praise thee in our captivity. But we have called to the mind all the iniquity of our forefathers that said, we get it. We understand we done messed up. Now we humbling. That's generational wealth. You hear people say that all the time about wealth and teaching this, and I'm gonna break generational. The only way to break generational curses here in America is we got to teach our children the true history and culture of our people. It does not matter. If you don't teach them that, I don't care if you hit the lottery and you just won that 1.2 billion, which the ticket was sold in Illinois. Ain't that something? You could have just hit that. And if you don't teach your children who they is, It might not be that generation or the next, but eventually they're going to blow every penny of that. They ain't got no choice because they don't know no better. We got to break the curse of not knowing who we are. That's where the power is. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. We sure is. What about it? Where thou hast scattered us. Yeah, we still here, 400 years and counting, for a reproach and a curse. Yeah, everybody look down on us. And to be subject to payments. Yeah, they standing on us. At the building this nation for free, they still standing on this money. Black people shouldn't be paying no taxes in America. You built the nation for free. You built the greatest nation in the world for free. Know that. And even when you came out of slavery, they still was giving you pennies to sustain. You still was building it for free all through Jim Crow. You still was building it for free. Know that. According to all the iniquities of our father, which departed from the Most High Yah. What'd he say? He said, hear Israel, the commandments of life. Give ear to understand wisdom. What's the wisdom, Baruch? How happened it, Israel? He like, how? That thou art in thine enemy's land. How is it that you still in your enemy's land? That thou art getting old in a strange country. Y'all done got old there. And that are defiled with the dead. And you in their ways. So you reaping the punishments of them because you defiled with them, because you done bought into their European and Asian and Arabic ways. You do the same thing all of them do. Yet you know you in your enemy's land and you know you in a strange country. He like, Baruch just asked us that question. How? How is y'all still there? How y'all still there and don't know no better? He said that thou art counted with them, they go down into the grave. You living in sin with them, you're going to die. Now, you still going to die even if you ain't in sin, but you going into the lake of fire with them. How? How you still don't know that that's not working for you? Look at what's going on around you. Do it look like it's working? Do it look like it worked? Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom. For if thou had walked in the way of Yah, thou should have dwelled in peace forever. Shalom. We done talked about shalom. Destroying the authority of chaos. You wouldn't have chaos in your life had you walked in the way of Yah. It's chaos amongst your people in America. Every day is something. It's never a dull moment, and it's never been. Know where you at. Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding. He like, you better learn where wisdom at. You better learn true strength, true understanding of what? Yah. That thou mayest know also where is length of days and life. Where is the light of the eyes and peace? Where? Only in the truth of Yah, in the culture of your people, who have found out her place, or who have come into her treasuries. Where are the princes of the heathen become, and such as rule the beasts upon the earth? He like, man, you better learn it, man. Y'all like, you better learn it. They that had their pastime with the fowls of the air, and they that hoarded up silver and gold, wherein men trust and made no end of their get. He like, they that made their pastime with the fowls of the air. The fowls of the air is a bird, but look at it from a futuristic perspective. Jets traveling the world, that's the highlight. And they hoarded up silver and gold. That's what rich people do. You got influencers online who fake look rich and get paid to do it. How do you fake look rich? You go live your best life. You fell on the jet traveling. I remember when I was still in the streets selling drugs. That's something I traveled a lot. That was one of the main things people looked at me and was like, dude, rich, man. Every time we look up, he in Miami, he in LA, he in Atlanta, he in London, he in Paris, he in Tokyo, he in Houston. I've been everywhere. Some everywhere. I ain't been everywhere. But I've been a lot of spots. And not in the military, because you got cats who be in the military too, who be like, I'd have traveled the world. But in the hood, we play them like, man, you was on a Navy boat. That ain't no traveling. Dude be out snapping. They popping bottles. And that's what we look at as the highlight. And they hoarded up silver and gold. And I wasn't even rich. I was budgeted trips. It just looked good. But people see that and it's like, he got it. Y'all like, where them people at? Men trust in that. It made no end of their getting. For For they that wrought in silver and were so careful, whose marks are unsearchable, who got all this money, business savvy, was so slick, whose works are unsearchable. You don't even know about what they did on the other side for that money. They are vanished and gone down into the grave, and others are come up in their stead. Y'all look up to these people with that money. Them people gonna die in sin. What are you looking at? And you in captivity doing that with no freedom. Man, if that ain't our people today, man. I tell you, if that ain't, boy, see the blessing? See why this is the book of the blessed? He telling you what you got to do. Young men have seen light and dwelt upon the earth, but the way of knowledge have they not known. Why? Because the way of knowledge is yours, and I done blocked it. Only people get that is who I choose. How we know? Because they believe in Darwinism and evolution, and Einstein and Stephen Hawking's talking about lights coming out of black holes and all that. These Einstein and Stephen Hawking's in the last 100 years are two men who in the time of their lives have been considered the smartest men in the world. And if you look at their lives, both of what they were considered to be the smartest men in the world was based off theories that hadn't even been proven to be true. How's that knowledge? Man, I'm telling you, man, y'all, you can't mistake it, man. You can't mistake it, man. We got science majors on the call. A theory is something that ain't been proven true. They was calling Stephen Hawking the smartest man in the world because he was talking about light leaving black holes and all that. How you testing that? They was calling him the smartest man in the world because of that. A theory. He couldn't even prove it to be true. So what happened when they proved it to be a lie? Darwin in his time was one of the smartest men in the world. They was teaching us evolution in the 90s when I was in high school. I remember around like 2005, they went on and said, well, we don't believe Darwin's evolution. What? When I was in high school, you needed 4 years of science to pass. What about the people who flunked out of science classes because they couldn't get Darwinism? Is you going back and giving them they diploma? Because they couldn't understand a lot? I tell you, man, that's what y'all saying. Where the knowledge at? They ain't got it. What they teaching? What they teaching? What they teaching you? What are they teaching? Matter of fact, because all us grown, what are they teaching our kids now? They teaching us that Christopher Columbus found America. In the same breath, they telling us it was Indians here. How he discovered something where his people living at. Man, and that's knowledge. He got a day. Oh, man, that tickles me, man. That is knowledge. He got a whole day out. Oh, I remember I seen the governor of New York, Cuomo, an Italian. They was talking to him like, well, we understand that Columbus didn't discover all this. They talk about taking down a Columbus statue of somewhere. He was like, no, they shouldn't do that. Columbus made great contributions to this. What? What was his contribution? He came here and stole these people's land. He started the ball. What is his contribution that he deserves a statue of the day? But that's what y'all said. Ain't no knowledge. Everybody know that it's impossible for the Israelites to have been European in hot-ass African Egypt back in the day in the middle of the desert. They can't stand outside in the sun now without sunblock. How was they doing that? They don't care though. See what I'm saying? Where the knowledge at? Where the knowledge at? How was some Europeans in African Egypt in the time of Moses serving out that? Did they have sunblock? Where the knowledge at in that? That don't make absolutely no sense. And the world done bought that. The whole world look at them people like, yeah, these the people. It does not make any logical sense. That's what y'all saying. The way of knowledge they have not known. Why? Because I took it. Because I took it. Nor understood the paths thereof, nor laid of it. Their children were far off from it. Not only did I take it, now they teaching your kids that nonsense. What you gonna do? You gonna let them live in that? It have not been heard of in Canaan, neither have it been seen in Theban. He like nowhere. The Hagarian, the Hagarians, the Hagar, the Hagarnese, maybe. The Agarnese. I don't know. I'm not good with that. that seek wisdom upon the earth, the merchants of Meran and of Theman, the authors of fables and searchers out of understanding. Fables, what? All that Greek mythology, all that Roman, them stories of Thor and all that nonsense that we believe. Mermaids, Disney sell a lot of this to these children. He's like, that's fables, that ain't knowledge. Searchers out of wisdom. None of these have known the way of wisdom or remember her paths. Y'all like, no, I ain't gave it to nobody. See the blessing of Baruch, but I didn't gave it to you. That's why we here. That's why you can hear this now. I'm just reading it for y'all, but that's why you can understand what I'm saying, because he made us both understand. That's why I'm nobody. We nobody. That's why we give him all praise, because we wouldn't know. Oh, Israel, how great is the house of Yah, and how large is the place of his possession? I got something set aside for you. You don't even know it. You got to find your way back. Great and have none end, high and immeasurable. This just made me think of a scripture I never thought about. HalleluYah. Maybe another time. It made me think of a story from the Bible I never looked at from that point. HalleluYah. Great and have none end, high and unmeasurable. Y'all like, I gave, man, I done chose you. Remember Amos, you the only family I chose. You so beat down in captivity where you spread around the world. You don't even understand how great what I done gave you is. But see, in the time of Baruch, they knew. That's why they like, we got to humble ourselves and get back right with y'all. It's hectic. You don't know. We don't know. But he giving it to us back. That's the blessing. There were the giants, famous from the beginning, that were of so great stature and so expert in war. The giants from the beginning. They were expert in war, really. Those did not Yah choose, neither gave he the way of knowledge unto them. That's why they killed each other. When you read the other books, the giants had wars and killed each other off, aside from what the flood killed. The giants fought each other and killed each other off. A bunch of them did. And then they make a fable about that. What is called? Clash of the Titans. See the fable? And they big that up. Those is famous stories around the world. Talking about what? Giants was offspring of angels and women, wickedness, fighting against so-called gods, which was the fallen angels, Zeus and Athena and all of that. More wickedness because they done fell from heaven. And those are popular stories. They make movies about them. See what he mean about no knowledge? And we line up to watch it. It's entertaining. It's a whole lot. And it's wicked. And that's what we call knowledge. I remember in college, I used to love them classes, the Greek mythology class. Now I look at that like, what was I in there doing? Man, these people was lying to me. Oh, man. But they were destroyed because they had no wisdom and perished through their foolishness. My people now perish. Why? For lack of knowledge. Who have gone up into the heavens and taken her and brought her down from the clouds? Who? Nobody. The devil claimed he could. He can't. I done knocked him to the earth. He ain't never been back. He's still mad. That's why he's so mad at you. The devil mad at you because y'all knocked him to the earth. So he like, okay, if I'm going to be down here, then I'm going to corrupt your seed since you love man. Y'all like, go ahead. Whoever buying in you, they bought into you. But I got some who I'm going to wake up and they going to get it right. You can't touch them. Who have gone over the sea and found her and will bring her for pure gold. Who's the pure gold? Us. So who is wisdom? Because he talking about wisdom. So where wisdom was supposed to reside? With us. So why is the world out of whack? Because wisdom don't know who the hell it's supposed to be with. I take that back. Because we don't know what wisdom is. And we don't know that wisdom is supposed to be with us. We done lost it. That's why these people don't feel us, man. I'm telling you. Because they know you don't even know. You out of order. No man know of her way, nor thinketh of her path. But he that know of all things know of her, and hath found her out. In his understanding, he that prepared the earth forevermore hath filled it with four-footed beasts. Yah. He that sent forth light, and it goeth, calleth it again, and it obeyeth him with fear. The light, he told you, boy, I send forth light, and it obey me. Light. That's who chose you as his family. And the strangers amongst you who want to find Yah. This is who chose all of us. This is why we here. The one who controls light. The one who right now could just say light die and then it go dark with the sun in the sky. Him. He like, that's who chose you. We got to obey him with fear, just like the light do. Just like the water do. Just like the wind do. Just like the trees do. Just like the earth do. Just like the rain do. just like the snow do. We got to be like that. The stars shine in their watches and rejoice when he calleth them. They say, here we be. And so with cheerfulness, they show light unto him that made them. Why? Because y'all said you better. This is our Elohim, and there shall be none other be accounted of in comparison. What are we doing? We over here worshiping any little doctrine, anything spring up, anything anybody say. Baruch, like, man, we got to get back to following our Elohim, who is all of that. He chose us. That's an honor. How do we honor that today? By selling dope to each other. Our men, by killing each other. How do we honor that today? Our women, by being half naked on beaches, talking about we living our best life, being strippers and calling that the life, being prostitutes. Our men, by not being in God and our women to even allow that to happen. That's why that happened. That's why, even though our women is out of order, but I don't knock our women, because that only happened because our men stopped fulfilling their obligation in our household. He like, we follow him. What are we doing? He hath found out all the way of knowledge and have given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Yasharal his beloved. Him, he got all the way of knowledge and have given it to Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved. He gave it to us. What are we doing with it? We done forgot it, and now the little bit we got, we use it for filthy gain, lucre. They know we got the knowledge. Don't get it twisted. Who created vaccines in America? It was a slave. It was a slave up in Boston. Them people was getting sick, and he created an immunization process, which became the basis of what vaccines is today. And it was another descendant of slave, if I'm mistaken. They took that black woman's cells, and that's how they created the process and never paid her family. Hidden Figures. The woman gave them the equation to get off of the planet with the satellites. It's always been us. That's what we use the knowledge for. That's what we use the knowledge for. Y'all ain't got to believe me. That's what we use the knowledge for, though. I'm just saying. I'm just reading now, really, man. I think y'all get the point, man. Y'all can tell me to stop whenever, man. I'm just flowing now. My Koti Angel said she wanted to read the book of Baruch, and I went and read it. And after I was reading it, I was like, wow, she right. I'm going to read as much of this as I can, you know. Y'all can tell me to stop whenever, like I say. You know, it's always a portion. I know my video ain't on, y'all can't see me, but it's always a portion when I'm just having fun in here with y'all, man. I don't mind. I don't mind, man. So don't mind me. Any questions or comments, y'all can stop me at any time. Like I say, we just read now. This is the book of the commandments of Yah. Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. Mind you, they took this book out the Bible in the 1800s. Why? Why? Because they had freed the slaves. Because it was after slavery ended they did it. Maybe like 1870. Matter of fact, let's see. Let's see, since we just read. Let's see. When did the Apocrypha? I spelled that wrong. Let's see. Okay. The Apocrypha, others point out that the Apocrypha was in every Christian Bible until 1828. In 1828, these books were taken out of the Bible, so I was off 50 years, forgive me. The translators of the King James Bible said that these books were written to prepare the people of Jesus in the same way as John the Baptist did. So they took them out in 1828. Why? Which make even more sense too, because as the slaves were starting to read, they was reading books like Baruch and saying, man, that's us. We got to stand up. We these people. And they was like, man, they are Nat Turner them and turned up something down here. Take them books out. Harriet Tubman. Man, they never tell you. I believe all them people, all them slave revolts and Harriet. Oh, I believe all them people was reading the Bible and was like, we these people, I ain't standing for it no more. And they went their way about it. Not saying that that way was real or the right way, but that's how I went. He said, this is the book. It's on you, Abigail. Shalom, shalom. I can't hear you if you speak. You got to come off mute. It's on you.
I said, when did they end slavery in Great Britain?
Let's see. Anybody out here know when they ended slavery in Great Britain? I probably spelled that wrong too.
It was the early 1800s.
It was early, right?
Yeah, it was early 1800s.
Let's see. 1807. Legislation was finally passed in both the Commons and the Lords, which brought an end to Britain's involvement in the trade. The bill received royal assent in March, and the trade was made illegal May 1st, 1807. So all this was around the time that they was taking these books out the Bible. They ain't want you to know nothing about all that. They were starting to free Negroes too. And you couldn't understand, America knew at that time, like, this is about to come to an end. It was inevitable. Oh no, don't do that. HalleluYah. Baruch chapter 4. Baruch chapter 4. Was it 5? Do I want it 5? It jumped through 4 and 5, only like a couple verses. Y'all go back and read this book, man, if you ever want to. You could buy this book in the store, but they got copies for free online. If any of you want it, just let me know. I email it to you. HalleluYah, Patrick. Thanks for that. This is the book of the commandments of Yah and the law that endureth forever, forever. See, these doctrines, the law done away with. No, the law that endureth forever. All that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Period. See? He's like, and remember, everybody died if you're not here to the end. What he's saying is the last death. If you keep it, you're going to get eternal life. If you don't keep it, you might be going into the lake of fire. Turn thee, O Jacob. That's us. When they say Jacob, it's talking about all 12 tribes. Who is they? Turn. Take hold of it. Get your history back. It's our history book. Walk in the presence of light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. You got to walk in the presence of light. You got to walk with Yah. You got to walk in Yah's ways so that he can illuminate us. Let his light shine through us is really what happened. Let it. If we just illuminate it, he letting his light shine through us. And that go for everybody who follow Yah. That go for anybody who follow in the truth of Yah. Let his light shine through you. Give not thine honor to another. We ain't worshiping no more other gods, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. That's what we've been doing, using the wisdom Yah gave us and doing everything for them. Nobody got paid. Dude who created the organizations didn't get paid. The lady who they took her cells to observe and test, they created vaccines from, her family didn't get paid. The Hidden Figures lady didn't get paid. These athletes get paid, but they still get paid pennies on a dollar. Like NBA players is making $50 million a year. Kevin Durant, for example. Nah, LeBron James, for example, on the Lakers. He's going to make like $47 million this year. Man, the Lakers is going to make like $900 million. And we like, well, we pour that 50 million love. Not really. 50 million is nothing to give you because you here, we gonna make, and they might make more than that. He gonna break the scoring record this year. The Lakers gonna sell out, which they sell out anyway, but they gonna sell out. Tickets gonna be top dollar. Man, the Lakers might profit 1.2 billion. Give LeBron 50 million. That's peanuts, nigga, here. And we gonna cut you when it's through. We don't even want to sign you. You old. Cleveland was a dirt organization. Man, they drafted LeBron, man. Even that organization is worth billions because of him. In total, in his years there, they probably paid him like 300 million or something, which to us, we poor. That's so much money. But in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. LeBron signed a $1 billion lifetime deal with Nike. To us, we poor. It's like, wow. Man, Google it, man. LeBron apparel, since he came in the league as a rookie with Nike, that made over 150 billion. They gave you 0.5% on the dollar for life. But we laughed at Kanye when he came at Nike and was like, y'all can't do me how y'all doing Michael Jordan now. We diss Kanye. Oh, he tripping, man. Dude, and he do be tripping. Don't get it twisted. But he was right about that. Y'all can't do me how y'all doing them athletes. I'm making too much money. Nike told him, we don't need you, nigga. Go do what you do. What'd he do? He went and turned Adidas up. Dude worth $9 billion now. He in a partnership with Adidas. They ain't just paying him. We use all the things that's profitable to make everybody else rich. O Israel, happy are we for things that are pleasing to Yah are made known to us. See, this is why we give joy. This is why we happy now. This is why we give praise. Because Yah done showed us what it is. We ain't just buying into that no more. That's why we here. That's why we do this. This ain't regular. It ain't what you used to. But if you give it a chance for real and really think about it, because everybody out here, I'd have meant it some type of way. Everybody out here is intelligent. I don't see no fools on here. If you just sit back and think about it, it makes sense. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Yasharal. Be of good cheer. Y'all the ones. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction. Why? But because you moved Yah to wrath, you were delivered unto your enemies. See, that's why we ain't all that. The white man did it. No, he didn't. He can't do nothing with you. Can't nobody do nothing with you. You there because you didn't do what Yah said. For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils. You start doing what these other nations was doing. And mind you, the people back in the land in Israel back in the day, they start doing what the Philistines was doing. And I can't even think of the nations. Who all was around? The Edomites, the Ishmaelites. They start doing what I can't even think of no more of the nations that was around them at that time. It was quite a few though. It was quite a few. And we still do it today. I told somebody this the other day, and I stand by this idea. I don't believe in talking about here in America. When you hear Black people talk about something, this is the tradition of our family. Even when you hear about like Black Lives Matter and all of that, I don't agree with that. And the reason I don't agree with that is because, especially the traditions of our family, is because when you hear Black people in America talk about the traditions of their family, our traditions are the traditions of the European slave owners who passed their traditions down to us. So when you hear Black folks in America talking about some black power and the tradition of our family, we fighting to uphold what they taught us about ourselves. That's not real to me. That's not real to me. Now, I don't knock nobody because I understand my elders were led astray. That's why it's my job to humbly learn and go tell my elders, we might have got a few things wrong, but Yah's merciful. We still got chance while we breathing to get it right. That's the point of this. You have forgotten the everlasting Elohim, Baruch 4:8, that brought you up, and you have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. Now Now he talking about Jerusalem, right? Now this is actual the land. Remember, the earth is in obedience with Yah. Jerusalem knows that Yah set it apart for his chosen people. Look at what I'm going to read like that. Let me just stop here with that. But he like, you have grieved Jerusalem. What about it? For when she saw the wrath of Yah coming up on you, Jerusalem, she said, hearken, you that dwell about Zion, Elohim have brought up on me great mourning. The land, Jerusalem, which is obedient to Yah, was like, and more than likely, how do land speak to us? Probably was, a matter of fact, I know it was some earthquakes there. Something like that. And that was her trying to tell them, y'all better get this together. Here come Yah. This is why they talk about in the last days how the mountains is going to melt and wax hot, that which is the volcanoes, or it's going to be earthquakes and all these storms, because the earth sees Yah coming. And all of that is happening because the earth is trembling as Yah gets closer. Do that make sense? Did that make sense to any of y'all? That's what's going on. So when you hear about all these earthquakes getting stronger and these storms, ain't no such thing as climate change. The earth is obedient to Yah. And as it sees him drawing closer, the effects of it trembling at his presence is the earthquakes is getting stronger. The storms is getting stronger. They lasting longer. That's what's happening. The earth is trembling because it sees Yah getting closer. And that's why when he gets here, what it say? It says the heavens and the earth. Now, I don't know if it's the earth, but we gonna see the heavens burn away with fervent heat. That's from the presence of Yah. And he's gonna open up his presence in a way that all that can't take it. That's what's happening. And we see that happening now. The hurricanes is getting stronger and more frequent. These volcanoes, all that flood you just saw in St. Louis and Kentucky, kill all them people. I just sent my Coach Lord an article, and lightning strikes killing 70 such people in India. And that's because the earth is responding to Yah getting closer. Verse 10, for I saw the captivity of my sons and daughter, which the everlasting brought upon them. This is what Jerusalem said, like, man, I saw my people go into captivity. With joy did I nourish them. I was happy to have Yah's chosen people here because I know that Yah chose me to house his people. I was happy. I was honored that he would choose me for that. But I sent them away. But he sent them away with weeping and mourning. I was sorry to see them go. This is Jerusalem talking. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow. I'm a widow because my people gone. And forsaken of many, who for the sins of my children am left desolate. Yeah, I'm here. It's people here, but these ain't the people that I know Yah put here because they departed from the law of Yah. See, I'm obedient to Yah. The people here stopped being obedient and Yah made them leave. They knew not his statutes, nor walked in the ways of his commandments, nor trod in the paths of discipline and his righteousness. They lost it. Let them that dwell about Zion come and remember you the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting have brought upon them. The people there know they don't acknowledge us. Matter of fact, the few of us who have made it back, they're trying to kick them out. They're trying to kick them out. For he have brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation. Really? What's the most? You just saw something shameless the other day with this nation. You got these veterans who went to these wars and fought for this country. They voted not to give them health care. How shameless is that? How shameless is that? They are out here rejoicing. Yeah, we stopped abortion, which is cool. On the same token, they don't want to give these poor mothers with these children, single mothers, $1 to help them. The greatest nation in the world. America remind me of Barnum and Bailey Circus. All I hear is the greatest nation in the world. It's like a whole, man, this nation crazy, man. That's what I hear. Like, it reminds me of the circus, man, like the man who used to be shouting with the whore, bigging it up, man. Shameless, just shameless. These assault rifles, man. These Second Amendment fighters is like, we need these big old guns to hunt deer. Man, these white boys taking them guns into schools and blowing down kids. They like, so what? How shameless do you get? And Jerusalem, like, y'all brought up a nation from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverence old man nor pity child. That's what I was just talking about. Of a strange language, which these people didn't know. And they have carried away the dearly beloved children of the widow and left her that was alone, desolate, without daughters. Ain't none of my people here. Even the city, like, man, they done been snatched up by a shameless nation. But what can I help you? Jerusalem, like, what can I do? I'm obedient to Yah. You wasn't. Ain't nothing I can do for you. For he that brought these plagues upon you would deliver you from the hands of your enemy. See, that's the blessing in this. That's why this is the book of the blessed. He's showing us how to get up out of captivity. Go your way, O my children. Go your way, for I am left desolate. I have put off the clothing of peace. I know it ain't been none. It ain't been no peace in what they call the Middle East, which is really Northeast Africa. It ain't been no peace there since we left in 70 AD. From the Ottoman empires, all them wars, the Catholic Crusades, it's been war down there. And then you get to 1948 when they established Israel. Them people who've been claiming to be us been at war there ever since they got there, because the nations round about know they ain't the people. But they ain't gonna say it because they rather deal with them than have to admit it was you. They rather deal with them than have to admit it was you. I took off the clothing of peace and put up on me sackcloth. My prayer I will cry unto the everlasting in my days. Be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto Yah, and he will deliver you from the power of the hand of the enemy. This is Jerusalem talking. Even Jerusalem is like, but that's why Yah said, in the last days, if don't none of y'all step up and say nothing, even the rocks will cry out. This is why the Messiah said that. Because even the land know, man, my people ain't here. It's been hectic. But Yah go get them. For my hope is in the everlasting, that he will save you. And joy is come unto me from the Holy One, because of the mercy which shall soon come unto you from the everlasting our Savior. For I sent you out with mourning and weeping, but the Most High Yah will give you to me again, and joy and gladness forever. It's 2 more chapters to Baruch, but I'm going to end there. Verse 23, for I sent you out with mourning and weeping. I sent y'all out, I was sad, y'all was sad. But the Most High will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever. You're going to come back, though. How Jerusalem know we coming back? Because in the very beginning in Genesis 15, he told Abraham, and he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and we shall serve them, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. HalleluYah. The book of the blessed, showing us how to get up out of captivity. And y'all already, we already went through it. Y'all word is true. And he already said it. My people coming back. I'm bringing my people back, and they gonna have shalom here too. It ain't gonna be like these people who claiming to be them, all this war going on. Not only is they gonna have shalom, I'm giving them what I established back. Turkey, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, all the nations that just sprung up around, that's over with. I'm giving my people the plot that I established in the beginning too, not just that little land they claiming there now. No, I'm giving them everything back, from the Euphrates to the Nile. All of us got to come back. And that's what we gonna end this at today. HalleluYah. I hope y'all enjoyed. I don't think we ran that long today either, man. No, I be doing the most there with y'all, man. HalleluYah. Any questions or comments about any of that before we go? I think it was pretty straightforward. HalleluYah. I got a scripture in my mind, but I can't figure it out. It's eluding me. HalleluYah. When we gonna end this at? Before we pray out, what am I? Oh, I got it up right here, matter of fact. Let's see. What y'all see on the screen right here, all this just notes. This is actually, some of y'all know about it, but this is actually a book I wrote. And as you see, it's just, as I read 5 years ago when I started to read the Bible, well, it was Yah, I understand now, but I just was taking notes, because that's the type of way my mind works. Like as I read, I'm more a studier than a reader with the Bible. So as I was reading, every book I read, I would just take notes. And when I got to the end, it was this. As you see, Isaiah, Jeremiah, it's just notes from everyone. And it was what scripture stuck out to me, what they said to me. And when I finished, Y'all was like, now make this a reference book and publish it. And I'm gonna publish it. I'm done with it. I just have to write a foreword to this book. All of you all of you will get a copy from it. But you see it just go through each book. But then when you get to the bottom, as it says, subject-based studies, then I wrote down scriptures that stood out to me. Scriptures about the slave trades, right? Passover, scriptures about David's shield. The reason I made that is because the people of Israel today, that flag, when you see the 6-point star, they say that that star is the shield of David. But when I read through scripture, these is all scriptures where David talked about his shield. And his shield was Yah. It's basically what David said. But it's different topics to it here. And I want to say end time prophecy is what I'm looking for. I know this book pretty well. Naturally, I'd have been through it, or the chosen, just like even just the chosen. So these are verses who talks about Yah's chosen people. You feel me? And he say he gonna gather them back and put them back. So I'm looking for a verse about that. So as I go through this, I'm looking for a verse where he talks about that. Let's see, Zechariah 8, verse 7. I know that book looked like a lot, but it wasn't a lot. That's been writing itself for years. So I didn't do that in the night. Zechariah 8, verse 7 says, "Thus saith the Most High Yah, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west." He like they everywhere, and I'm gonna go get them. And I will bring them, just like Jerusalem just said, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And truth, that's the key word. What is the truth? Who is these people? And their righteousness. And I'm going to leave that with y'all. This is why we here. This is the blessing in captivity, to start to understand and to see how we going to come out. And we rejoicing and we praising Yah's name because we know his word ain't a lie. And we know that he's always standing on what he say. And we believe that one day he going to pull us up out of here just like that. It's another one where he talked about, I'm going to gather my people one by one. I'm drawing a blank. I think I done got tired of here with y'all, man. I have been up all morning, but I'm drawing a blank, man. It's quite a few scriptures I'm looking for, but for some odd reason, I am drawing a blank. I'm looking for one by one. He said, I'm going to gather my people. I think it's in Isaiah. Oh, there you go, Isaiah 27. He told us how he was going to do it. Isaiah 27, he said, I'm coming to get them one by one. Verse 13. Where is it at? I'm gonna come get them one by one. Did I miss it? Oh, right here, Isaiah 27:12. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Most High Yah shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, or Mitzrayim, and you shall be gathered one by one, O you children of Yasharal. Even in this truth, don't let nobody tell you you got to be gathering with no congregation, no group, no camp, or whatever terms they using to describe themselves. The Most High Yah said, I'm going to gather mine one by one. I was talking to a Nicole yesterday. She ain't been on here in a while. And she was like, yeah, I've been busy, this and that. I'm sorry for missing. And I told her, you don't got to apologize to me. Yah done showed you what it do. All you got to do is study your word and learn the Most High. And he going to gather you one by one. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, which means the house of bondage, the outcasts in bondage all over the world. And they going to worship Yah in the holy mountain of Jerusalem. So this is why Jerusalem was saying that. She was like, I know that word too. And the Most High said, I'm going to bring y'all back. We coming back. And that's just what this is, man. HalleluYah. like I say, when I finish this, man, when I print them up, all y'all will get one on me, man. It's been a journey with this. You know, sometimes I just read, sometimes I pull this up and I just read, I pick random scriptures and just read it. And the reason I do it, A, is because I always find something in Yah, but B, it just brings a tear to my eye sometimes when I go through this, because for me, when I look at this, it's like, wow, I done came a long way. But hallelujah. Angel, since you the one who put this on my mind, you could pray us out. You are Octoni. Shabbat shalom, Octoni. Go on, pray us out one time, Oc.
Shalom. 1 second. Let me give him the phone.
Shabbat shalom, family.
Shabbat shalom.
Hallelujah. Abba, we just pray today. First, I pray and I ask you, Abba, to continue to strengthen Ak as he brings forth your word and understanding. Give us all understanding on today, Abba, that we may be able to learn from you, follow your ways, and be restored, Abba. Be restored unto you. Abba, I pray today that you would keep us, guide us, lead us into all truth. Abba, I pray that anyone that's dealing with anything today, health issues, anything, that Abba, that you said you would be our healer. And Abba, heal those that need healing on today, Abba. And order our steps on today, Abba. Be a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path, Abba. And Abba, I just pray that we all come to a place of humbling ourselves, that we may be restored unto you, Abba, and that you would give us the blessing of restoration unto you. Abba, I thank you so much on today, Toda Abba, that you have called us on today, that you have allowed us to be here on today and to hear your word and get an understanding of your word. I pray for all those that are on the call. I pray, Abba, that you would cause each and every one of us to know you and your ways, Abba. So I thank you. I give you all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory for it. In the name that is above every name, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. HalleluYah, HalleluYah.
Hallelujah.
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 Well said. All praises. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Everybody have a good day. It was good seeing all of y'all.
Yeah, Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Have a blessed week.
Have a blessed week till we meet again. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
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 Mitch, you got your hand up. You good? You hit the wrong button. Shalom, shalom.